All right, y'all. Welcome to All Politics are Local, America's number one political hip hop radio talk show. Y'all know if it is the fourth Friday, y'all know it is time for the disciples. And of course, I'm going to pass it on over to Ali to do the honors. So, Brother Ali.
Well,
And
grace and peace be unto everybody. All politics are local. Number one. Hip hop political radio show in the land, around America, throughout the world. And I'm overseer at Ali, aka the Pastor in the Hood, and what a pleasure it is. Number one, to be alive. Number two, to be in my right mind, half of my right mind. And number three, looking forward to the rest of my life being even better than it has been. Good evening to everyone. What's good with you? And how are you doing? We are excited, and you know it's the fourth Friday, and it's the disciples. Tonight it will be myself and my beloved sister, the Reverend Louise Scott Roundtree. We will be together tonight. Imam Abdul Haq Muhammad is away and won't be on tonight. Has another assignment, but we pray that this hour will be worth your time. So we greet you. We greet you. We greet you. We greet you in the matchless name of the Creator, and we love you. So what's happening? What's happening? What's happening with everybody? Share live. Let somebody know that the disciples are on the air. And we have many things going on in the land. We know that our sister is coming up for the Supreme Court.
yeah.
And already one of the chief Republicans already said he's not going to vote for her. But thank God that it's lined up that they don't really need the Republican votes to get her over the hump. We just pray that none of the Democrats flip the script.
Well, I tell you what's interesting, Ali, is that nobody really expected any of the Republicans to support them to support her anyway. You know, so I think that that's absolutely insane. But let me just say, I see that Brother Zaid is on. So, Brother Zaid, one of the co-hosts, welcome to the show as we sit in with the disciples.
Yes, sir. Another Friday has come. I want to shout out on our daughters, Monica McIver, who was sharing space over there with our sister Reverend Roundtree. She's trying to figure out how to get on because she always has 97 things, challenging her for her focus because she's always that busy. We salute that queen for that. And to your opening remarks about our little sister trying to make that move for the Supreme Court. She's not a shoo-in. And I'll say out of concern, respectful concern and loving concern, right? And I don't think she anticipated what that lion's den that she walked into, because it really got to our sister, and I was disgusted and appalled at these backwards racist white men grandstanding for the 2022 election. That's what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they were doing. Because half of the stuff, there's not a single thing in that sister's history that merited her being treated like that. Not a single solitary thing. And the thing
Ted Cruz of all people.
Yes, and the thing that they hung themselves up on was how they are manufacturing lies as truth to manufacture dissent, right? It's like they manufactured a lie that Trump didn't lose, right? They're trying to manufacture this lie that she's, was involved in all these spaces and was weak on
child pornography,
predators and all this. She did everything that she did by the book as we know it, right? And the fact that where she's unique and special in my modest judgment is the fact that she has important experience, critical experience, on the defendant side of being appointed to a position like this. We've never had that, and that's important to appreciate it, because no matter how much you may despise somebody for something they may have done or may believe in, in a place like this, and with a piece of paper that you're supposed to be beholden to, called the Constitution, everybody is entitled to a fair trial.
Yeah,
Everybody is entitled to
you're innocent
counsel.
until proven guilty unless you're
Right,
black. You're
right,
guilty
right.
until
And that's
proven
and,
innocent.
and if I was in my daughter's ear, that's what I would be telling her to say. I said, don't get into none of that dramatic caca with these crazy white people. Just hit them with the Constitution. Right? Yes,
Yeah,
she
'cause
defended, folks who are jammed up for charged with terrorism at Guantanamo Bay. Everybody is entitled to a trial. Somebody had to do that. And we have history of being people persecuted without proper counsel, right? So I
right.
think she is uniquely qualified to bring something to And then there's something else going on that we need to appreciate. Clarence Thomas is in an unhealthy space.
Yeah, he's sick. He's sick.
They've been closed mouth about that. They're nervous. A minute ago, they had this grip in terms of control and direction of the Supreme Court. And had this beautiful young sister with these Afro locks, right? These impeccable credentials. And then Thomas Clarence gets sick at the same time, which means we could bring somebody else right behind her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And shift that balance in a way that we haven't been able to shift it in a while, right? Remember, Obama wasn't able to get one person through.
Not one.
Behind these crazy white folks. Not one, right? So, I think, and our little brother Cory Booker, even though we had to run him out of Newark as mayor for some other reasons, he had his moment, I must say.
He spoke up
on his post, speaking up for the Queen. He had his moment. Riding Du Bois. I was like, oh my God, this Stanford boy riding Du Bois?
Yeah, he spoke
I had to
up.
say I
He
love
spoke
that.
up.
Right? I had to say I love that. And it's time for him to come on the daggone show. We need to get him on.
Yeah, because he ran for president and he probably
things.
won't want to run again.
Yeah, but it's there's so many places I can go with that. But I had to just say that for opening my. There's somebody else on my mind too that I want to come back to another time. Is that there's another young sister. This is me being international now. That looks just like the great Callie House. Callie House is one of the mothers of the reparations movement, who is in line to be the first Afro-descended vice president of Colombia. Her name is Francia Marquez. Brilliant young sister, brave young sister, who ran for president and lost in the primary to a left Colombian, who right away embraced her as his vice presidential candidate. Right, and on the other side of the spectrum is another Black Colombian who's going to be the vice president candidate. The other so Colombia is is a funky space that has our people going through similar things that we go through here in the States. Got a young sister on the horizon that's been making noise. And she's been somebody I've been watching, somebody that I have some bodies that are close to me that know her personally. And I wish I were closer to them right now, because I would love to really do some serious solidarity around this young sister who's going to make some serious noise in the international arena for her country and our people globally, for Black women globally, as she has been for all of her young years. So, greetings to the specialist
Greetings.
Wow. Of the disciples.
While we are international, I want to throw this question out. Do you think we're headed for World War III? I mean, this Ukraine situation.
Ed, we haven't heard from my sister yet, so I'll let y'all weigh in.
Yeah, she's headed to the car. I think she got to get in the car first. So that's gonna take my girl.
Ed, what say you,
on the way out?
What say you about this situation with my man Vladimir and his folks?
Putin.
Yes.
Well, I tell you, man, from my particular perspective, listen, I think if Putin see himself losing, he's not going to hesitate to use some nuclear weapons or, some way to be able to pull that thing back, into,
Lord have mercy.
Control. So, I mean, all that's possible, man. I mean, I don't put nothing past this guy. I mean, think about it. I mean, when he made the decision to invade the country in the beginning, man, you know. So, why would a guy make that kind of decision? And now, if it looks like these folks are putting up a fight, why is he going to cause this thing to linger on? So, will they be, a fight between him and the United States? Well, I mean, anything is possible, man. You know,
All
if
things are
Donald,
possible, and I
if
think
Donald Trump was,
when we,
if Donald Trump was there,
yeah,
I mean, if this was Korea, we'd already be in a fight. You know what I mean?
yeah, true.
So I think here, I mean, I think that Biden just has to make a decision because I mean, it's almost like somebody goading him. Like this guy keeps saying, shut the sky down," and he keeps saying, "No, we're going to wait on NATO and NATO." And now, if they push NATO, and America is the biggest power involved in NATO, right? So if these other countries start reacting, he's not going to let them push them around, so he's going to have to step up to the plate. But the problem is that it's not going to be an on the ground fight. It's not
No,
going to be an on the ground fight.
no, it's going to be in the air, and it's going to be
It's going
chemical.
to be nuclear. Right. That's it. I mean
Chemical warfare.
right. I mean, and think about these guys got missiles that go past the speed of sound. Think about that. So you can't shoot them down. Now imagine that kind of technology.
Yeah, it's already there before you can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine that kind of technology coming at you
Listen,
that fast.
we many light years away from Pearl Harbor. Many, many light years. Imagine, my God, do you really want to even imagine? We're going to pray, Pastor Ali, that we don't even have to think about. We have this saying that if God wasn't on my side, I wouldn't want to imagine what my life would be. But we better truly pray that what these Lord, watch my mouth, that these people who are not thinking like us, that are not thinking logically, can affect and impact the United States of America like you would not believe.
Well,
It's really you think about it. You right now you riding along, look like Elizabeth Avenue. Can you
Yep.
think about chemical warfare in the hood?
Yes.
Can you think
Yes.
about when you look at Ukraine and you look at them buildings, or how
Yes.
they're completely demolished?
Down to the last brick.
Not demolished. And then when you think about America's response, that they're so quick, and don't get me wrong, I feel for the people, but I mean, they're so quick to bring the people in as refugees into the States and everybody. And my question is, if this was Haiti, if this was Cuba, somewhere else, would you be as quick to respond to allowing the people to come in?
Well, let me be an advocate against the devil. I'm not going to be the devil's advocate.
I was getting ready to say that.
Let me be an advocate against the devil. I hate to say this, but the U.S. instigated all this mess. The country,
Brother Rhino, you've done your research and your homework.
yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, a lot of stuff that does happen, we instigated.
They instigated all this
we
mess.
gone into these countries, killed people, started wars and weren't even our wars to start, got involved in wars, not our. I mean, yeah. And then we start having to defend our people that we brought to the fight.
We've been having Larry Ham on regular because we got the march. We've got the Million Voters March coming up. Somebody.
Oh, okay.
We've got the Million Voters March coming up, but that whole theme of that march had to be expanded to address the question of war and peace because of this whole new dynamic in Europe with Russia acting badly. But there's a basic concept in world affairs called spheres of influence, right? The Western Hemisphere, according to that doctrine, governed by the Monroe Doctrine, right? Is the U.S.'s sphere of influence. They ain't gonna let nobody come in outside of their sphere of influence without their permission, right? Certain points of Eastern Europe over through the former Soviet republics or the Russian landscape, right, represents Russia's sphere of influence, right? China and most of the Pacific, right? That's considered their sphere of influence, right? And if you respect each other's sphere of influence, you ain't gonna have too much madness going on between those powers who control those sphere of influence. But for years, the United States has been egging on this little country to come into NATO so they can put arms in those spaces, right, and aim them in close proximity to the Russian Federation. And Russia has been very plain, been very consistent for years saying, y'all are crossing the line, y'all keep talking this mess. That is something that we're not going to accept, right? And even the young brother that's the president, Zelensky, said, no, we're not going to do that. We really don't want to do that. He was saying that right up to before they were invaded. Meanwhile, U.S. kept saying, oh, well, yes, right? And so finally, they called Putin's hand, and he invaded. Now, I'm not saying that the man was right. I think he was making a horrible humanitarian mistake. I mean, it's terrible, right? You displace the whole people and denying them their self-determination. That's terrible, right? And the fact that all these folks be in this place targeting civilians, all of that is foul. All of that is completely foul. But when you provoke the Russian bear, be careful when he wakes up. All principle in U.S. and international diplomatic history, right? And they provoke the Russian bear, right?
The bear is woke.
Yeah, the bear is woke. So the question is, how does the international community create a space for them to pull back with the things that they need to be secure in the arrangement, right? And there's things that are on the table that Ukraine be a neutral state like Finland and the other countries that border the Russian landscape are neutral states not in NATO. That's going to be a principal deal maker in any of these talks. Let's be real clear about that, right? Because they made it. That's the whole point of the contradiction, right there. And there's some other things that are going to have to be worked out because I know Ukraine wants to maintain some semblance of self-determination that the rest of the world wants to see, and all of that. But this peace is possible. While everybody's talking this war stuff, the ingredients for peace are also right in front of our face, right? So the responsibility for those of us who believe in peace, in the spirit of Dr. King, as we get ready for the anniversary of his assassination in March, is to push for that peace, right? Solidarity with all those folks who are protesting in Russia, right? Solidarity for all those folks who are protesting around the world. Solidarity, we represent solidarity. Our solidarity matters, right? And we need to not just be focusing on Putin with our solidarity. We need to be focusing on Biden and those folks that we have access to make sure that their number one agenda is to push for peace, not for war, right? So, because some other things up in the too, right? They cut off Russia's gas instead of looking at this moment as a space and time to begin to wean themselves off of the environmentally destructive fossil fuel industry. Fossil fuel industry looking to get paid.
Yeah.
The military-industrial complex looking to get paid. Right? Those stocks are going up, right? While those oil prices and those gas prices are going up. See? So, we need to look at all, we always got the big picture to see what's really involved. And it's not just, a brother who speaks Russian who got an attitude and want to beat people up. It's just there's a bit more layered than that. And we need to be clear about that. Then finally, something else is emerging that we need to appreciate. And Pastor, you just referred to it, right? When we started getting victories in the late 60s, early 70s of a legal kind in the Black liberation movement, i.e. the civil rights movement, and having started getting access to education and these kind of things, that there should be X number of seats for disadvantaged, communities like ours, i.e. quotas, right? White folks started pushing back, these racial quotas are discriminating against white people. The place that always has had quotas in this country's history. And the name of white supremacy has been its immigration policy.
The policy.
Immigration has always been Eurocentric. We will always take more immigrants from Europe than we will ever take immigrants from anywhere else.
That's true.
100,000 people who automatically going to be brought here and taken care of.
Yep.
Right? To your point, Pastor Ali, they did not do that with our people coming from IT. We're looking at our people being whipped on horses and being sent back right away. Right away. We got folks walking from Central America, from governments that the United States that's bankrolling, they're being terrorized by their government, walking away through Central America, up from Central America to Mexico to come here for a chance of something decent for their children, being put in cages. And then being sent back. No 100,000 quota for folks coming from Honduras. No 100,000 people quotas coming from El Salvador or any of these places where they're coming from. None of that. They get the worst treatment, the most inhumane treatment, and it has happened. And this ain't Trump. This ain't just a Trump thing. This is an American thing that has been long-standing in this country. So this white on white violence is really such a horrible thing. Should we be concerned about it?
They didn't they do that with the Afghan? When Afghanistan, was liberated. Didn't they bring a lot of Afghanis to the United States?
Oh yeah.
Put them up in houses all over the country, gave them a bankroll, gave their kids free education. Right? Remember when the black man was freed from when the black man was let loose in slavery, he just said go. We ain't get nothing. Right?
We got the black
for
codes.
ourselves.
That's what we got. We got
But
the
look at
black
how
codes. We had Reconstruction for a minute. But we got the black codes and we got the KKK and we got Jim Crow slavery. I'm sorry, Pastor. Go ahead.
I don't know if you saw that.
No, say that again.
Black college offering. Here it is. Our students paying student loans. Our people behind the 8 ball trying to pay the loan, pay the tuition. And here it is. They make an offer to the Ukrainians to come to this historic black college.
I did
for
see
free.
that. Yep, I saw that. Yep.
Yeah, and that's something that Biden also has in his hand. The capacity to reduce this student loan debt to help young students, right, across the spectrum, black, brown, yellow, red, and white. Going into school with all this debt anxiety, right? I just about years ago, in the late 70s, that was the last word my mind. Worried about how to figure out how to stay in. That was our struggle. How we gonna stay in and work and deal with family and all of that, and all the drama, just trying to be field Negro, trying to get an education, right? But the idea of being overloaded with debt wasn't even valid, right? But our kids are really worried about that. They're having real anxieties. I got an 18-year-old senior in high school. She worried about it. I said, look, sweetheart, look, just get your grades. Don't worry about that. Let daddy worry about that. I didn't have to worry about that. We're gonna figure this out, right? But just saying that ain't enough. Unfortunately, when folks don't, when you love us, though, you ain't got no real money. But Biden has in his hands, his capacity to cut that debt or to cancel that debt. He has
to cancel it across the board
in his hands. That needs to be something, and students need to fight for that.
There you go.
That's right.
There you go. But that's the problem, right? They are not saying anything, and what's going to happen is they are not going to get the youth vote, and they're going to end up losing the White House because of that.
Mess around, lose the Congress next year.
That's right. They're going to lose the Congress, and then they're going to mess around, and they're going to lose the White House because those young people who came out, particularly in Atlanta, who came out and voted for both of those senators, But of course, the brother is up for re-election,
Yes,
right?
he's very vulnerable.
Yeah, and so them young people are not motivated because they didn't see, they're saying, okay, you all told us to get rid of Trump, so we came out, we voted in large numbers, and we helped y'all do that. But what did we get for that, right?
Yeah,
Donald Trump.
exactly.
I mean, clearly, Biden has the ability to sign an executive order to remove student debt. At least, he didn't even remove the amount he said he was willing to remove. Right,
Right.
that he, the $50,000 because Larry said when he was on here last week, Larry said that's the amount of money that his daughter is at,
That's right.
$50,000,
And she went
and
to school locally here.
yeah,
Mhm.
right. And so imagine as soon as you graduate from college, and remember it's a federal loan, so you can't get rid of it. So as soon as you walk out the building, 6 months later, you got a bill coming to you for $50,000. You start off in debt.
In the hole.
Now, how American is that?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
And don't mess around and go to graduate school or law school or medical school. Oh my God, you in a couple of $100,000 worth of debt.
It's horrible.
And you hoping that you get a job making six figures and above.
It's just not fair to our kids. It's just not fair to them.
One of my members, she's coming out of Rutgers in May, and she'll be headed to medical school.
And Brother Ali, the reason people keep going to school is so they don't have to pay that debt.
Right. As long as they're in school,
right, you're not paying.
It's on hold.
Right. So that's why people go back and get a second degree, get a third degree. Right. They're like, hell, I ain't got no money, so I might as well just go back to school, get me another degree, and then wait until the economy get better, get me another degree. Because the economy is all messed up right now anyway.
Oh, just gas alone.
Coming out of a pandemic. Yeah. Did you hear what Ice-T said online?
Yeah. He got robbed at the tank.
Yeah. People thought he literally got robbed.
No,
but when he came on,
he said pump nine, robbed him.
Right.
He was trembling, he was upset.
Yeah. My mother-in-law was upset.
They got all kind of jokes about this gas situation, but you all know where all of some of this gas is coming from, and who's in charge. When you start talking about $5 a gallon, it went down to $4.09 somewhere, and somebody put it on Facebook. Oh, there is a God. Keep on praying; it's going to come down. But until we start negotiating the right way, instead of in the best interest of our own personal fights as the government is doing. What did you just say, Baba, about America? And I know if Abdul Haq was on here, he would talk about how America is raping us.
That's right.
That's another story. I'm not going, but that's the real truth. This is where we are. No, everybody's running to be here because it's supposed to be the freest country, the best country, the land of the free and the brave.
They lied.
But not for us.
Everybody's running from other countries to come here. But the truth of the matter is they're running here to come here because they don't know the other half of the story.
Right.
The grass always look green on the other side.
Yeah, that's only because
when they find out they find out that grass is counterfeit.
Wait a minute. That's only because either it's grass that requires more water or it's fake grass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That exists too.
That's that.
But then I read Roundtree, I thank God from a biblical perspective. The beginning of sorrows. Do you believe that we are here?
Did she hear you?
Did you hear me, Roundtree?
What'd you say?
I said
What'd you say?
From a biblical perspective, do you believe this is the beginning of sorrows?
I could say yes, and I could say back in 2000, what was it, 2K, when everybody thought the world was going to end?
Yeah.
Okay, so we could say that, but in the real truth biblical perspective is that we don't know.
Right.
We really don't.
We just see the signs.
Listen, Nostradamus gave us some signs that he spoke of how many eons ago? And people thought Nostradamus was crazy, but they relate some of what Nostradamus says to today. They look in the book of Revelations and say, these are the times we're living in. But these times have been repeating themselves over and over and over again with leadership
Indeed.
throughout these various countries. So listen, since we don't know when it hit, that's when we'll find out.
Yeah, but can we survive? Can we? I mean, struggling to survive in the times we are in now, post be endemic, post pandemic.
Yep.
You know, we just come
All
through
right,
2
since you
rough
want to go
years.
biblical, let's go to Moses.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Pharaoh. Let's talk about the many plagues. Let's talk about nobody believing Pharaoh until he lost till it started hitting his family, not believing that, oh, this ain't real. This, this isn't happening. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I'm gonna keep on hurting the people. Oh, it's coming. How it's coming, we don't know. This was this sign that we had during these past 2 years, from March of 2020 until today. We're not out of the woods. We're in a better place. But the whole lot of plagues came. It just wasn't one. So
right.
you're losing a bit of respect. Now we talking about corona. Now we talking about Omicron. We talking about some other stuff. Now they talking about some other variant. So we talk about the plagues from back in the biblical perspective.
Right.
The locusts and all of these various things that came upon the earth. The
The
truth of
frogs, everything.
man has been Earth's worst enemy.
Mm.
Man,
How about that?
man has been Earth's worst enemy.
How about that?
Yes, we have our things that we have accomplished. But watch this. The men that have accomplished some of the greatest things were never even given credit for what they created, by way of God giving them the will and the knowledge to do so. Who
True.
created the traffic light? What
Right.
did George Washington Carver do with the peanut? I mean, come on. Who created the iron? I'm just talking about little stuff. Who built the White House?
Your ancestors did that. That's right.
But they didn't get credit for that. But the men who could do, no, boy, don't get me started on this.
Joe,
Men
Get started,
We
baby.
want to
Get
get you
started.
started.
been Earth's worst enemy. And since man has been Earth's worst enemy, the earth is what we live in and what we dwell in. So
But
the earth has been good to us because we haven't been good to it.
But you know what though, Roundtree? They actually, the indigenous people respected the land.
They did.
Right?
But look at what happened to
They
them.
called it the motherland, right? They respected it.
Somebody came along, gave them some weed and some wine, and no. That's it. I don't even want to we can't even make fun. That is the most hurtful. We talk about coming over in ships and slaves, ships as slaves, and not by our own will, not by choice. But they just came in and swept, conned, connived, and took the land from the indigenous people. The earth, man has not been good. Watch this. Man has not been good to the caretakers of the earth. We can twist this narrative many ways. And what's sad about it is because of that, we suffer.
I'm gonna tell you something. Yeah, right on. No, finish your thought. I'm sorry. You go right ahead.
I always tell folk, I got this saying I use: you can pick your sin, but you can't pick your consequence. You don't know how you're going to pay for the wrong you do to the people, to the land. You can't, you talk about droughts. You talk about what's happening with water. You talk about, you don't know how this stuff is coming back to us. We have no clue whatsoever. None.
Look at the tornadoes and
Come on here.
The wildfires
all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, nobody dropped. Watch this. Didn't no match just drop?
No.
Not to start no fire like that.
That's right.
I tell you.
That's right.
Smokey the Bear won't in them.
I didn't even. That's a fire I didn't even start. Part of my maroon heritage.
Baba, you guys, Ali, Brother Riley, in your own respective places, you've done some great things, fought some great battles, made some great stands for us in this world, to not just have a better life, but to have a better understanding of who we are and how we should treat each other, and how we should also, my God, it's just coming to me, how we should also do the things that we need to do, that are going to help our people. Now, who's our people? The people. Everybody is our people as part of humanity. Some people don't want to be our people by choice of skin color.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
economic status.
Did she just fall off?
Yeah,
She
she
was
fell off,
rolling.
but I
She
know
was
what she's
rolling.
trying to say.
Yeah,
Some
she's rolling.
people forced to be in the condition that they are in. Their condition forces them to come where we come at. Their condition forces them. Their unfound poverty, their unemployment, the rising of costs, and all these different things are affecting everyone at the gas station.
And I'm gonna tell you
And
something.
look how we bamboozle. We think
Mhm.
that we hit 409, we think that's cheap. When gas was 72 cents back in the day, 80 cents, then it go up to $2. Then they get you used to that. Then you
Mm-hmm.
say $3, they get you used to that. And then you say, oh wow, it's $5 elsewhere. So $4 is not that expensive. And we look at this, what our people are suffering with, just with gas, just with these moratoriums. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about that. The moratoriums, the people, PSNG, with the lights and everything, and people
Yep.
not knowing what forms to fill out, and the moratoriums. I've gotten so many calls from people who rents are due now.
Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. And
Go
that's the
ahead. Go
thing.
ahead.
That's the thing, Ali. Right? Like, I was having this conversation with some other brothers, and it's amazing how they can find billions of dollars to give to Ukraine, right? But you can't find billions of dollars to cure homelessness or to cure hunger, right? In the black community or in America, period, right? You can't seem to get that done. But why is that, right? I mean, as Mayor Baraka said, all they doing is printing money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just printing money.
Especially the mental health of our people. Think about the brother that was going around killing the homeless,
Yeah.
kicking them first, and
Yeah.
everything. I mean, where's your mind at?
Yeah. But Ali, that is what was said. They said that nobody really knows what, coming out of this thing 2 years later, what was going to be the psychological condition of all of us, what's going to really be the health, right? Because people who've been sitting in the house for 2 years, I mean, just imagine, the physical issues that come from that. But think about the psychological issues, right? And most of our people live in apartments. So if you got black folk, 10 people living in a 3-bedroom apartment, you know what that's like?
That's right. And 6 of them is crazy. Got some other issues along with it.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man. No, that's man, please. Yes.
It's
You know, I
so
know it did
so
a number
so
on my head.
so anything is possible, right? And I remember hearing some rich folks. I remember hearing Gail King say that she was suffering from some mental illness, and they don't telling how big her apartment is in New York. But she said
Yeah,
she
'cause she
was
got some
suffering because
money.
she couldn't
Yeah.
go out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, Wendy Williams.
Yeah,
Different people who publicly are suffering meltdowns.
No, I had one. It wasn't, it wasn't pretty.
And so
Yeah.
when you think about the mental, when you think about the chemical warfare, and then you think about fentanyl, you think about drugs. So what do people turn to? They turn to drugs to try to uh, uh, deal with stuff. I'll tell you how crazy it is. In respect to one of my members' nephew had died in the car with his friends. And they drove around with him all night, not realizing he was
wow,
deceased.
wow.
Wow.
They went
Was he
from
was he
place
dead?
to place. They used to, if you high, you turned out or whatever, they'll leave you in the car and go do what they do and come back
Right.
in. I mean, they drove around with him all night long until the
Mm,
night was over. And
mm.
they realized he had been deceased all night long.
Wow.
You know that sound like the movie Robert Downey did? What was it? Below Zero or something 0 years ago, where he had this. These are true. People make these movies. These are things that truly, truly are happening now. But you know what's even more dangerous, brothers? That our elders. It's not just the young people now. Our elders. I'm talking about 60, 70. There were 2 elders found deceased from fentanyl overdoses.
Mm.
We not. I mean, I'm not telling you what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you a fact.
Mm-hmm.
So the elders complain about the young folks, and which, you know about
Some of
chemical
us never
warfare.
stop getting high.
You talking about chemical warfare? There's a whole lot of chemical warfare going on.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the chemical
Two,
warfare. That they can just
talking
release
about the
something in the
drugs in our
atmosphere.
community.
That is our
Exactly.
chemical warfare.
Exactly. They can release something in the atmosphere and kill us
That
all,
is
but
true.
they're doing it slowly. They're doing it slowly. And what's sad is when I talk to young people, you know what I tell them? I'm like, you know what's sad? When I go to these little candle vigils and all of this stuff, I said, while y'all out here burning candles and pouring Remy and Ciroc and all this stuff, I said, the truth of the matter is, what are you celebrating? You celebrating the fact that the men of the light of persuasion now don't have to hang you because you're killing yourself? They could just sit back and watch us destroy each other,
Yeah.
kill each other.
We were calling that death culture in the last show.
Come on, never mind genocide, never mind all of that. The truth of the matter is, we are doing it to ourselves, and no one is telling the, because history is not being I should say, well, it's not transitioning from one generation to the other. Because as you know for a fact, Pastor Ali, we got generations that don't know nothing about no God.
Right, true.
Never mind who Harriet Tubman is. Never mind who Pearl Beatty is or Ken Gibson is. They might know who he is now because they ride by City Hall to see the statue. Oh, who is he? And I often tell you that a kid asked me about 3 or 4 years ago. I was in a school. He was like, he says, I know you represent Jesus. He said, but you ain't never seen him. And I asked him, do you know who Martin Luther King? I said, do you know who he is? He was like, yeah. I said, well, can you tell me a little bit about him? What do you feel about Martin Luther King? He said he was a great man. He did a lot for our people. I said, really? I said, well, you weren't even born. I said, how do you know all of this? You never met him. And he finally got the gist of it because he read about him. So when you start talking about historical, I think that one of the greatest things we can offer our young people is knowledge.
Absolutely.
But wait a minute. All knowledge is not facts. And I point that out because just because you read a book does not necessarily mean it's the truth. So you can know a thing, but is it a fact?
And then whose truth?
And whose truth? We used to think all George Washington did was chop down a cherry tree and not tell a lie. But later on in life, we found out he was a slave master.
300 deep.
Okay, but as a kid, they painted this picture in some of these books, and the only hero that African American had before Martin Luther King was Crispus Attucks. Come on here in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Crispus Attucks. Didn't nobody know nothing about no Nat Turner.
You're right.
No Harriet Tubman.
Mm-hmm.
They told you Crispus
Tell the
Attucks.
truth.
But Roundtree, I just want to pull you back for a minute. You know, when you were talking about these young people don't have any spiritual grounding, right? Think about what's wrong with that, right? Because you know, when we all were coming up, our mothers believed in taking us to church, right?
But you got to look at the generations, though. Let me say this. Now, I don't mean to cut you off. And Ali will attest to this. I worked in a furniture store for 12 years, right? On 60.
Did we lose her? She's rolling. Just what we should always get cut off when she's rolling.
Yeah,
The community store. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
We
you
hear
froze
you.
a minute. Start again. You worked in the
It was a furniture store that was
First
community based
yeah.
called Credit Doctor. Can you hear me?
Credit
Yeah,
Doctor.
we got you. Yep.
Credit Doctor has some of the best
Okay.
commercials.
So
WJR.
come on here. It was a community based store. I went there to work for 90 days, ended up there 12 years. But what I learned, this is when I really learned about generations that did not know God because I was a church girl.
Mm.
And you would have churches all around there. You had 16th Avenue, John McClain down the street. You had churches in the neighborhood. You had Reverend Pitts. They used to have the church right there on 20th Street, across from Credit Doctors. And you had people that lived in the neighborhood, but then you had a 16-year-old that had a baby. Her mother was 30. Okay. So now you had a mother that's a grandmother at 30 with a 16-year-old. Watch this. The 16-year-old's baby has a baby at 16. So now you got a grandmother at 45 or 43. That's a great grandmother. They haven't even had a chance to be introduced to anything because what they saw and what they, unless, now watch this. I'm not saying that there aren't people or some young people weren't tied into religion or got to know God, but me and Ali as faith leaders can attest to the fact that there are parents and generations that were not brought up with religious foundations.
The welfare trap.
Yeah.
The welfare, the crack epidemic. You think heroin was bad. When I first started working in Credit Doctors, after you think crack was bad, I have never in my life seen people run after something to kill somebody. I was standing in front of Credit Doctors one day, and this lady was talking to somebody, and she was like, I gotta get some. He had some of such and such. The guy just was found dead down the street, and you telling somebody you gotta get some of what he had. I never heard such craziness.
Ran
But
right
they
to it.
was
That's our
that
generation.
good that
Right to it. Instead of running it out of the community, we ran right to it.
listen, I'm gonna tell you the difference in cultures. I was at an event. It was an all Jewish event down in New Brunswick. They invited me to pray. There was nobody in there black but me. And I asked Bishop Jones to drive me, and they didn't even sit him at my table. And you know me. I'm like, why? You know, they said, because we didn't know there was gonna be anyway. So I went to tell the rabbi I was leaving, and when I tripped, I hit the lady. I didn't know I knocked her out because I was so busy trying to pick up my phone, and she fell, right? So now, you know, had this been on Broad Street in front of City Hall, people would have been running with their cameras, taking pictures, going live. That's what we do. We run to the stuff. Bishop Jones was standing in the back of the room thinking it was some kind of ritual because he saw somebody's. He was like, oh, what's going on over there? They got to hit a lady on the floor. We all standing around. Nobody took a picture. Nobody panicked. This is all Jewish people. I was like, is there a doctor around? They said, you should be asking, is there a doctor not around? Because we all doctors. You know, my point is the difference in cultures. We run to trouble. Other folks run from it. You hear the mayor say, you go in a white neighborhood and the people see the police. They want to know what's going on. You go in a black neighborhood, they want to know why the police not there.
Yeah.
Culture. And it's the same with our babies coming up. It's not their fault. It's not anyone's fault that there are generations that don't know God. I'm not going to blame that on nobody. It just in some households that way.
Well,
based on what was offered to them, what was available to them.
I disagree with you. I think that, you know, the Bible says
my father used to pick up kids whose mothers didn't go to church and take them.
Yeah.
And that's not that doesn't mean your life is better because you go to church. But in some cases, I believe that it really assisted in some of the ethics, some of the morals.
It gave you something
that our neighborhood
thinking.
Have to give you
something
right. You had something
in life.
Yes.
But Roundtree, I'm saying you can't let these parents off the hook. The Bible says you train up a child in the way he or she should
But
go.
if you ain't never seen the Bible, how you know that you do? Wait a minute,
right.
but you got to see a Bible to know that. So when
That's
I'm talking to guys on the corner, I know kept talking about the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, because it's like speaking Spanish to them. They don't know
But,
nothing about the 23rd
but
Psalm.
Ali,
You know who they want to hear about? The Negro on the corner, the brother on the corner, the man on the corner, whatever you want to call him, don't want to know nothing if he's in trouble. But Ali was a crack addict, and look at him now. He's doing very well.
hey,
Reverend Mountie had a life. Look at her. She was in a palace. She went to the pit, but she's doing very well. They want to meet us first. Those people outside that's hurting, they want to meet us, and then they can see the God in us through the transitioning of what we have become. When you start running to folks, all of this and all of that, that they don't know nothing about. Okay, how much is 1 and 1? And the child has never had a math class in her life. You got to first let them know this is 1, that's 1, and this means 2. You got to show them.
Well, one of my members got
So when you
sentenced
start
today, 5 with an 85. He was raised in church. His mother did the best she could. Many of our young brothers and brothers that are locked up, they come home biblical scholars, Quran scholars, you know, they
yes.
study. They know all the word when they're locked up. What they're not doing is bringing it home to their family.
Right.
come on here.
Talking about the
And
incarcerated
you
brothers. I'm
give
talking
them
about
practical
those that are
opportunities to
Well,
take
wait
care
a
of
minute now.
themselves.
You got
sound.
some
They come home
incarcerated
with
brothers. We got more Muslims. Wait a minute, Ali. We got more converted brothers and sisters that might not have known God, but helped to sustain them through their trials and tribulations
right.
while being incarcerated. Everybody looks for something to identify with during their times of trouble. Some bite, some don't bite. Some can't wait to get out to bite you or to hurt you. Or watch this. They don't know how to heal themselves, don't want to take advantage of the healing process, so they come right back out. And I won't say they come out and don't share with their families, because some, and I tell the women, when I go to the halfway houses, haven't been lately, do you ever stop to think about who's touching your child while you locked up or while you getting high?
Wow.
Have you ever stopped to really think? Just stop and think. You out here so busy getting high. You out here so busy getting locked up. And you got 4 kids living here, there, and everywhere. Have you stopped one time? See, I don't have no filter in some audiences. I might start out with a compassionate conversation, but then it's got to get real.
That's right.
Because the truth is,
that's a hell
somebody
of a
raised
question.
and you have no clue what they're doing to them.
Well, some of them are messed up because somebody did something
But
to
that's the
them.
reality of it. And that's one of the questions I asked the sisters when they back and forth. Just stop and think. Just stop. Maybe you've been abused and raped and molested and been through a whole lot of stuff by some brothers that's been broken. Maybe you've been through that. But do you want that for your baby girl?
Right.
Do you want to suffer and go through the same thing?
So we figure out how to break the cycles.
We can't. We're not gonna hold them accountable, but some people just don't know how to deal with their brokenness. Why society and our circumstances right now. Listen, we hit and miss. We call a person, tell them we're gonna help them. We go out there, stand on corners. We go out there and visit all these people. But how do we do our follow-up? After we done talk to the sister, do we go back? Do we give our phone number so when she get out or if she needs some assistance? It's got to take more than talk, and we can't just hold them accountable for things they don't know.
Right.
True.
If they don't know, we can't hold them accountable. We can't say that we're not gonna let them off the hook because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. First of all, don't no book come with life. Don't no book come with life. There's the Bible. That's a way of life, but don't no book come. It's based on who's training you. And if who's training you don't know, then hell, you just being trained whatever they know. And that might not be in your best interest, but it's all they know. All right, y'all got me on a.
This is your segment.
But
that's what
you're supposed to get. This is a place where you're supposed to get open.
Yeah, but that's real talk. I think that at the end of the day, see part of the problem is, Ali, and you know this, right? That a lot of these people are too far up here. Right.
So, but see, this is the type of
and
fire Baba starts.
You got to talk.
Baba starts these kind of fires,
right?
Head Riley, you start these kind of fires.
Well, they think it's not affecting them.
Yeah.
If it don't come near my neighborhood, then it's not my problem.
Yeah.
You know, even with the sister, all fairness to her, it seemed like when these sisters get up top, here she come with her Caucasian husband. He's a surgeon.
Yeah.
He crying. The kids crying. She
Who you
crying.
talking about, Pastor Kamau?
Yeah,
Who
told
you
you,
talking about?
she wasn't ready for that.
She wasn't ready for that.
Crazy white people. She wasn't. She should have been. I'm surprised she wasn't.
Who Ali?
She talked about the time
Supreme
she
Court
Who?
nominee.
Mm-hmm. Our little sister for the Supreme Court. And,
Tanya
you know,
Jackson.
yeah.
Jackson.
Oh, Jackson. Yeah. I missed when you said Caucasian husband, and at the top, I was like, did you talk about the vice president, or you talking about
No,
Jackson?
I've been on her, but I'm talking about they broke her. You know, they broke him. He was boo-hooing. One of the little kids boo-hooing.
Yeah.
You know, she broke down. That's when Corey came in and stepped in and went slap off.
Corey got her.
You know,
But you know what though?
He wanted
Ali,
to
you
tell
gotta
her,
admit
wipe
it.
the tears.
Corey was good. You gotta admit it.
Oh, he did his thing.
Yeah. We gave him a shout out when you was trying to get
him
on.
earlier.
And I've given Cory Booker very few.
Yeah, Corey was good. I know. I worked for him for 7 years. Let me tell you something. The brother has a gift of gab, okay?
Yes, he does.
And the truth of the matter,
he knows the right things to say.
listen, he knows exactly
he was
the
working
right things
Du Bois.
to say. And he knows the singing.
Yeah, he was working Du Bois.
And he knows
I say, my. Look at this boy. All right.
Listen, black folks would have picked him apart if he would have came any other way. He told the truth.
Yeah.
He told the truth and included some history in it. We got a history lesson.
Yeah, he was right. He was riding Du Bois for real.
Yep.
Really riding Du Bois. That's what he was cool. And I wanted to, as we wind down, I wanted to shout out a part of what you were saying, Roundtree, and bring it back to what we need to think about in terms of getting ready for the 50th anniversary of the Gary Convention.
Yes, sir.
You were talking about Mother Earth and how
yes
how you were being polite. You said, man, I'm gonna say the white man. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mother Earth,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the places that we should be coming out of the drama of this conflict in Europe, is that it's a place for the international community in all of its variety and in all of its power iterations to recognize that this conflict must stop, right? Two, this question of being overly dependent still on fossil fuel must stop. This is the time now to take another step away from the polluting, environmentally destructive dependence on fossil fuel and start moving towards alternative stuff. And where am I going? I mentioned Francia Marquez, who has a chance of being the vice president of Colombia, right? One of the things I hope we can look at, Ed, so I really want to figure out how to get more involved in some of the groundwork talks, is that, we in the international arena, we black folks, black women like Francia, right, are in front of environmental justice. Right?
Yes.
And then if we flip that to Newark, we got a Kim Gaddy, and we got folks locally that are doing some important work on environmental justice. And environmental injustice looks like our community is being dumped on with all this toxicity, right? So I don't know if that's any place where we have really gone yet in terms of the planning. Rukaya.
So that is amazing you say that.
Yeah, listen, Rukaya did a hell of a presentation at our Human Rights Tribunal back in October on environmental injustice and what that looks like in Jackson and in Louisiana. She killed it. So that's something that we need to. If that's not in the mix, maybe something we need to figure out how to get in the mix. There's a sister that reached out to me, who's a scholar who wants to work on the oral history idea that I was talking about, right? But her background, environmental justice. Right. So I'm always looking for practical places to go out of these conversations, because we have these conversations to fix this stuff, not just to be rapping.
Yep. Well, we out of time. So Roundtree and Ali, we're gonna give y'all the last word.
Well, next month, right when we come back on, we've been already celebrated Resurrection Sunday. So happy Resurrection Sunday to the Christians, Passover to the Jews, and Ramadan Mubarak for the Muslims. All three major faiths will be celebrating their high holy days.
That's
At
right.
the same
Looking
time,
forward for that.
Ramadan. Yep. Ramadan starts April 2nd. Good Friday's coming up. April, was it 5th? No.
15th.
Okay, so I'm doing the Christian flag raising the week before. The week before, which is the week before, yes. The Good Friday before Easter Sunday. And then I'm doing a citywide iftar, which I will post everything I need to post regarding that. And then I have, what else do I have coming
Passover.
up?
You got a million.
Passover.
You got a million things.
I got so much stuff going. Got so much, but we know this is Women's History Month. Shout out to all the women, even
All the
though
sisters,
women
virtuous women.
have been making history every single
Holding up
day.
our
We're
flag.
making history. Her
Raise it,
story
raise
is
the
being
cloud.
told every day. So while we're only celebrating 1 month that's been set aside, I celebrate my sisters every single day. But happy already blessed women's her story every day, this month and always. Of course, the mayor's holding his men's meeting tonight. It's going on as we
There is.
speak.
There
I
is.
want to remind everybody that on April 19th is a school board election. Come
Yes.
out and vote. People play down the school board election, but the truth is your children should be important enough to you to vote for. If you're going to come out for the governor and the president, your children is the most important thing. Because listen, if you don't have no children, vote and come out and see what policy is being set in place for somebody else's child, somebody else's grandchild. So April 19th is the school board election. And then on May 10th, which we'll be back before then, to remind you to come out for the local election for the city of Newark. The municipal election for mayor and council will be on May 10th, 2022. I know I can't go no further than that, but I am reminding you, don't take nothing for granted. Get your tails out and vote, vote, vote. School board, it has one of the largest budgets, but what we don't do is think our children, how you have 300,000 residents and only 10,000 people come out to vote for our babies. Our babies.
How about that, my friend?
And lastly, my wife, breast cancer, the church breast ministry, New Summers Worship Center breast ministry, will be walking 100 miles in the month of April, 100 miles in the month of April. So you can, my wife and, New Summers Worship Center, the Queen, you can go to my page on Facebook, Pastor
I have
Hood,
it
and
on
she's
our
talking about it every week
Coalition
and
page
every time
too.
she's on live. So get your mammogram, sisters, and take care of your health, queens.
Real.
During Women's National History Month, take care of your health, sisters. We need you.
That's right. Yes, sir. I shaded some of that.
Well, listen, we want to thank y'all for coming on and doing the Disciples. We appreciate that. Of course, we missed our brother tonight. So we want to thank you, Ali, for coming through, and thank you, Roundtree. And big up to Brother Hawk, wherever you at, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Peace
All right,
and love.
Ali. Peace, brother.
God bless.
Yep. All right. You want to introduce our next segment, brother?
They should be on. I already plugged the 50th anniversary of Gary and what we're trying to do. These two young educators, they're younger than me. Are some of the best that we have in the area, and they got this. They're seizing the teachable moment. They have this. We got some of the background going on. These are the teachable moments. They have gotten their students intimately involved in how to, streamline what Gary from 1972 can mean for them in 2022. This ain't enough just to us to celebrate and clap our hands about a powerful Black Power moment in '72 and not make it real for this moment and going forward. We have to do that, right? When teachers doing what teachers are supposed to do, these two young brothers are doing that with their students, right? The great Kelly Harris from Seton Hall University, and the great T.J. Whitaker from the Maplewood South Orange school system, Rutgers University, and their Freedom School construct, right? Been turning it up, got their students turned up, and this is going to be part one. As we get in Edwards, we start getting closer to Gary. We got to bring Gary into the show. We one of the principal co-sponsors, right? So I'm really just looking forward to these young men talking about what they're doing with their students to lift up this important anniversary in this particular, and how we're going to make some power moves out of this historical moment, right? TJ, here you have you been on the show before?
Yes, yeah. This is my second time being on. I was on once before, but yeah.
More recently. So yeah, I'll let you open up, and then you know share your impressions of the importance of Gary and what you got going on with your students. And in part 2 and part 3, we'll bring the students in the mixed and have them get down with us. How about that?
Yeah, that's cool. I think though, if we should have maybe like Dr. Harris lay out like a little historical context because he was the one who actually created the model. You know, the structure that we're working with. So would it be cool if
he passes you, Kelly? You know,
I'm a point guard, bro. So I like to set folks
that's
up,
right.
man.
He's a good point guard too. People don't know that about you.
In another lifetime, right?
That little boy could play a little bit. Yes, he could. All right, you got the ball, Kelly. What you gonna do with it?
How y'all? Well, first, thanks for having us on. It was good to see y'all again, Brother Ed and Baba Zaid.
Yeah, peace, brother.
So this is an important moment. The National Black Political Convention in 1972 in Gary, Indiana, was a very important historical moment for us. We see it as an extension of the 19th century Black convention movement. It's something that Black people have always done, come together and organize and try to solve our problems, our collective problems, at the local, national, and international level. So Gary Convention some years ago, I started using it in my class, in my African American leadership class, and in my Introduction to African American Studies class. At times, I co-authored the paper with a colleague on it, and I tried to put it in with the colleges, but it never really got up off the ground. So here in New Jersey, I wanted to do it, and people kept telling me, reach out to TJ. You know, so I connected with TJ. So now we're doing it for the New Jersey public schools. So it's an important model that we're trying to get students to grapple with historical and contemporary issues. And, you know, the purpose of education at the end of the day, you should be able to identify and solve problems. And there really isn't any model structured, to my knowledge, for Black youth to really engage and try to solve problems of particular import to people of African descent. And there's the Model UN, there's the Model African Union, which is of course important, but there's nothing like the Model Gary. So this is something that
great David Horn works on that African Union model. He tried to help me get into grad school.
Say that again.
The great David Horn, great elder scholar, has been working at African Union model. He tried to help me get into grad school the last time I tried to get in. They still closed the door my behind.
That's that That's that Panther background.
Yeah, oh my God.
But I'll pause there and just let TJ go ahead and fill in.
So yeah, I'll pick up, man. So the beauty of Dr. Harris's, Kelly's Model UN is that it allows it takes that Model UN structure, which is again in pretty much every public school district, but flips it in terms of the topics and issues that were discussed and covered during the original Gary conference, right? And so we're looking at politics, we're looking at economics, we're looking at healthcare, prison industrial complex, the environment. And so, as he said, the students will be grappling with certain research questions that we posited for them. Once they get to the conference, and they'll be caucusing. We'll have also as of now, we have students from East Orange, 4 different delegations coming from East Orange, one from Campus High School. There's 2 delegations from Sojourner Truth High School. I'm sorry, from STEM, from STEM, and then one from Sojourner Truth in my school district. And also it's high school and middle school students. So we'll have in my district, South Orange Middle School is sending a delegation, Maplewood Middle School, and of course Columbia High School. And just within the last few days, we were contacted from folks down in South Jersey. There was a teacher from Egg Harbor Township and another teacher from Woodbury, right outside of Camden. So we're really excited, about having a wide range. Diane Colson from West Caldwell Votech, which is like an Essex County, a county-wide school. She's going to bring a delegation of observers to come down as well. And then we have Wayne Valley is actually reaching out. They have a partial delegation that they're going to send. And I think we most recently actually have a Newark school that's going to be involved. But that's our biggest challenge, man. We really want to have more Newark schools come on board. And so if anybody is listening and has any contact or connections with any Newark public school teachers, we really would like and need to have them, involved in this in the convention.
Indeed. I'm glad you said that.
Now let me. But Brother Kelly, I mean, didn't y'all have a meeting with Jonathan in reference to this?
Yeah, Jonathan's on it. Jonathan is on board, so he's going to be doing it. So we're happy about that.
Because he told me the other night, because on the call I was on with Beatrice and Rakia, I was going to schedule a meeting with y'all with Roger Leone. But what he told me is that there was a letter that's already been sent to all of the principals, right? So in regards to getting Newark involved, and that his principal has already signed on. So y'all got one of the premier schools, with Science High School, that are with y'all. And I'm telling you, if y'all get Science High School, y'all gonna get all the other schools. I mean, that's just gonna happen. But if Roger's already okayed a letter to go to all of the principals, they know about it. I mean, I could still push for that meeting with y'all, because as you know, Roger is part of the National Black Political Convention here in August. So I mean, but and when is y'all event taking place?
April 29th and April 30th.
Okay. And where's it going to be?
Seton Hall.
Okay.
And then we have weekly check-in meetings.
To what?
April 29th and April 30th. That's a Friday and a Saturday. Okay. And I should say it's the first annual Model Gary convention.
Okay. How about that?
Have you done this before? This is your first time doing it?
No. I've done it before on a smaller scale with my classes.
Okay.
This is the first time we've done it at the school-wide level. This is the first time.
Okay. And so inviting, the folks from different schools to come up and really participate in this and that for a 2-day event.
Yeah, it really, and I would say this even if I wasn't involved in it, but that putting together an active learning model where we just step back and let students work it out and make mistakes, and that's the beauty of it, and that's the important thing of it. And we need more things to really challenge students to be leaders and to try to solve these problems. They have to see themselves at that. I'm gonna give one example why this is so important, and the students are never too young. You all remember Frederick Douglass, What to the Slave is the 4th of July.
I perform it sometimes.
Yeah. So, and I've always, talked about that in my classes and everything. And, in doing some research, what I found, man, that Frederick Douglass was just standing on the shoulders of a long-held conversation about what to the slave is the 4th of July. And for example, there were a group of young men in the 1830s
Mm.
who started their own reading circle, literary society. And at that time, that's when Black Literary Society just started. So young men modeling themselves after their adults started their own literary society. And in that literary society, they took an oath that they would not celebrate the 4th of July. They're 14 years old.
Mm.
14 years old.
Love
So,
it.
so we have to really share with these students that this, that's our tradition.
Mhm.
That,
Yeah.
that we come
Yeah.
from people who were serious about the struggle from a
Yeah.
young age. You're never too young to get engaged, to get involved, and to try to address these issues.
At the heart of which is study.
At the heart of
Mhm.
which is study. That's
Yep.
right. That's right. That's right.
Right.
And you can't just do the study through social media.
Exactly.
You need to
God.
really
Exactly.
Oh my God. Drop the
Yep.
line. Good
There
out.
you go.
Yeah.
Ah.
But see, as you say that, Brother Kelly, I think about when we were coming through in the 90s, one of the things I think about is how much we all were engaged in reading, right? I mean, all of us we were devouring books, man. You know what I mean? And remember, we didn't have the access to the internet like these kids do now. It was
That's right.
coming, right? So we were still going to black bookstores or going hanging out in Barnes and Nobles and just sitting on the floor. And actually, we couldn't afford some of those books, Brother Zaid, right? Bashi and I. So we would actually go and we'd grab 3 or 4 for the books in the black book section that we wanted to read. And we'd stay there for 12, 13 hours and read 2 books, man. They'd be like, oh, we ain't got to buy it.
Or
Yeah.
do a five-figure discount too. I know that.
That's what I'm telling you. I stole all the
Yeah.
Bible. You set me off.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm saying just the beauty of that, right? And this is what these young kids don't really have an experience with. So I think that, but if they do that Gary model, I think the level of political consciousness that they're going to get from that is just going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Just to
Let me-
understand what that involves.
Let me say this. So the other day, as a part of the model, TJ and I made ourselves available to the faculty advisors that if they want us to, to help them out and assist them in preparing the students. So Teresa Mon, who's the Black Teacher Educator of the Year
Mhm.
in New Jersey,
That is
she
this
has.
Orange?
Yep, Teresa. Yep.
Yeah.
So she rolling with us.
She's good. She's good. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. And she has some students. She has some students that did a project, did a submission for New Jersey History Day,
Mhm.
and they did it on the Black Panther.
Years.
They did it on the Black Panther Party and COINTELPRO.
No kidding.
Mhm.
Zaid, if you check
Wow.
your messages, I
What?
Right.
Man. Before that, this is how I met her. They did one on Fannie Lou Hamer, the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party.
Wow.
Went to Atlantic
Wow.
City.
Wow.
That's how I met that sister several years ago. And she had one of her students performing as Fannie Lou Hamer, right? And the student would pop up every now and then and reach out to me. I can't call the daughter's name, right? But I was never able to make connection with the teacher herself. TJ's, we used to go to the Summer Institute for the homicide commission. She was there.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how we met her. Yeah, good teacher. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. That's So it's just I was saying that because we have some young people who are hungry and who are doing this, and they need support because their piece of the History Day, the criticism they got, they had to revise it. The criticism from the people of History Day was, well, you got to show both sides. Why would the FBI target the Black Panther Party? What were the Black Panther Party doing to make, as if it was legitimate?
Right.
And,
Right.
So it's very interesting, man.
But that's courageous space for anybody to go within that paradigm. I wish I had known, TJ, we would have been all over trying to help her figure that one out.
Sure.
But that's great stuff. That's great stuff. Why don't y'all step back though for a minute as carriers of history to this generation of students that you're teaching, and just talk for a minute, for folks who still don't understand why Gary is so important. why was Gary so important in 1972? And why is it important for us to revisit it now as we reach this 50th anniversary milestone time?
CJ, you want to go first, brother?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. One is the the theme that they were working under, right? The unity without uniformity. And when we look at the movement today and the struggle today, Black folks in both parties. When we think about the role of the church, right, in the movement, and so for today, for students to look at that history and taking that into account when they come together. When we're talking about this whole problem solving, so the one is definitely like the theme, the unity without uniformity. I think that can carry the day and beyond, right?
Mhm.
But secondly, a couple of weeks ago, at one of our check-in meetings, so we have weekly check-in meetings on Thursdays, but we watched a documentary, Nation Time. And one of the scenes, I guess, or the excerpts that kind of blew us away was Jesse Jackson's speech.
Yeah.
And Jesse Jackson gave this speech that, I mean, he set the place on fire. And Kelly, raised the question for us to kind of compare and contrast that speech to his speech at the Democratic National Convention, 12 years later. And of course, it was well, I would say less radical, right? Less in your face in terms of like, and then some of the other teachers who were in on the call as well felt the same way. And so I think seeing history like in real time, and the ability to which we can bring some of those folks into our meetings, and they can have access to primary resources. I think it makes it that much more real for the young folks. And I'll pass it off to Kelly.
Yeah, so when we go back and look, so one of the people we need to hold up in terms of who done some great research on Gary is Kamosi Woodard.
Yeah.
And
Kamau's gonna work for me on the oral history project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so his work on Amiri Baraka, A Nation Within a Nation, really deals with the Gary Convention. He's done some recent work on it in terms of reviewing the film. Nation Time. So he's done some great work on it. But one of the things that's important to remember that Amiri Baraka, Jesse Jackson, Coretta Scott King, Betty Shabazz, Queen Mother Moore, Charles Diggs, all the Black elected officials that you can think of, activists, Ron Daniels from Institute of Black World was there. Our own Larry Ham was there, the youngest person there at Gary.
Bobby Seale.
Bobby Seale,
Right.
so and then you think about the entertainers
the
who were there.
following year.
Yeah. I mean, so it was a very rich and powerful moment. And that's something that a very important moment in our history, in our struggle.
And I'm gonna blow your mind with this one. Did you know that Reverend Sharpton was there?
I did not.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
That'll blow your mind. And you know who invited him? Made sure he was there?
Probably
Who?
Sonny.
Mary Baraka.
Interesting.
As a student, as a young high school student, Mary Baraka made sure that Reverend Sharpton was there in Gary.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. See that? I mean, so it was a very
All
important
of our people were there, right?
Yeah.
And imagine 10,000 people were attracted, right? And because of the sign of the times, and we all understood at that very moment. When you think about Reverend Jackson's speech, right? Black people were primed and ready to go and create an independent Black political party, right? Because they were talking about getting Black people elected. And they weren't talking about going getting white folks registered to vote. They were talking about registering Black folks. That's why they were saying nation time, right? Because it was time to build an independent Black nation. And the problem is that what's been said on the undercurrent is that white folk had gotten to Jesse, right, and offered him a deal, and that all those other Black folks couldn't no longer, in the street vernacular, hold him down, right? Because if y'all remember, I mean, you had the other sister who was running for president.
Shirley
Her name
Shirley
Chisholm.
was
Chisholm.
Charlie
Shirley
Chisholm.
Chisholm,
72 was her
right?
year.
Remember, she was laying in the cut. She didn't even come to the convention, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of
And Mary told her to
politics that
come.
were in play.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
And Mary told her to come.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So you got to think about how historic that thing was, man. And when you talk about the organization of doing the 50th anniversary of this, listen, all I can tell y'all is the marketing game for what's going to happen in the next month with what's going to happen in Newark hasn't even began. But when it began, trust me, the floodgates are going to open. It's going to be like come to Jesus, man. Because black folk in this country right now understand, be real clear that if them white folks lose the Congress and lose the White House, I guarantee you they priming and ready for if Donald Trump don't get reelected, they got another white boy who's coming that's gonna be crazier than he is. And it ain't gonna be about what they do. I'm telling y'all, brothers, it's gonna be about what we do. And we better get ready.
Well, indeed, and when we look at that 72 piece, we have to be critical when we look at it. We have to look at the success that came from there, and we also have to look at understand the failures of it, why it didn't succeed fully. We have to understand what happened between 72 and by the time 84 comes, when Jesse runs for president under the Democratic banner, 84 and 88. Which were and go back and look at those speeches too, because Jesse gave some awesome speeches
Indeed.
both of those years, in addition to his 1972 Garing speech. So I think that period is a very important historical period that's kind of understudied, particularly for young people.
Yes.
Yep.
That we need to figure out where did we go from Gary in 72 to then Democratic Party ticket 84, Jesse's running and bringing black folk in, and in 88. What happened? What changed? And we weren't talking about an independent black political party anymore. We were firmly ensconced in the Democratic Party with all the contradictions that has.
Limitation.
So that's an important piece, man, that we really have to unpack.
That's right. I think if we're gonna move forward as a people, we've got to take a look at that, right? We've got to understand, and this is what Mayor Baraka says, so when we started this thing 2 years ago, one of the things he said, I want to pick up where Dad left off at. Think about what that challenge is going to be like, right? If we're going to pick up where they were talking about an independent black political party. So at what point then do black folks say to themselves, if white folk are not going to give us justice in this whole political sphere, what are we going to do to answer this call? What are we going to do? Because, in the Nation of Islam, if Haq was on, he would tell you, politics ain't never really worked for black folks. It worked for some, but it's never worked for the masses of our people. And so we've got to learn how that game is played. And so we're not saying that you put all your baskets in that one basket, but that's one means to an end for black people to reach an end goal and get justice in America. Because you can't, you can't change the court system unless you plan in politics. You can't control the school system unless you plan in politics, right? So we've got to understand how do we play in those fields, but also we've got to understand that there's some of our brothers and sisters they ain't ever gonna be on that field. But then we've also got to understand as black folk that the only thing white folk understand in this country, right, is they understand power. And power concedes nothing without a demand. Nothing has, never has, and never will. And we've got to learn how to play that game, man. And I think that what Amiri was trying to do in 72, he was trying to change the world for black folks, right? He was trying to change the conditions that black folk were under. You just think about all the different groups of people that are coming together. Hey, listen, I'm telling y'all that's happening right now underneath the cover. Malik Zulu Shabazz is already confirmed to be part of the convention. Dr. Umar has already confirmed to be part of the convention. These are brothers who are on the outskirts of brothers and sisters who are on the inside of politics. But that's what happened in 72. That's what happened in 72, right? I mean, you got somebody like an Amiri Baraka, right? Rolling, with the mayor of Gary, rolling with the congressman. Come on, man. You had some black folks that was in Congress that want nothing to do with Amiri Baraka.
Well, you know what, brother, Ed? So the interesting thing about this is that Amiri was responding to and working with the King family. Coretta Scott King had picked up where her husband left off, because and Amiri Baraka and Brother Woodard talks about this. Amiri Baraka, when he was on a panel with Coretta and Diggs and Jesse Jackson, and Coretta had did a paper about gave a talk about civil rights to political rights, and Amiri was like, "Well, that's it. Let's make that happen." And from that, they all came together to do the Gary Convention. So Amiri was able to set aside his ideological position and work with people who might have been beholden to some different type of interest than he was. He understood that Black community is a large tent,
Mm-hmm.
and that it cannot be driven by just one ideological outlook or perspective. So one of the things that take away from that, and these young people, we want them to take away from that, is the humility he had in demonstrating leadership in terms of that.
Embodied unity without uniformity.
Yeah, he really did.
To
He
do
really
that.
did. And not everybody did. And I think that's a part
Right.
of it. And that's the thing too we have to understand. That this is it's not about the personalities, it's about the issues.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And we want the students to always
There you go.
understand that. We don't want them to make the same mistakes generations of us have made.
Right.
We cannot be personality driven.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We have to be about the issues.
Another mic drop, a kabow.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, remember what Malcolm said. Malcolm said that he said if we keep our eye on the objective, he said no matter how much we disagree with one another, he said we should never fall out of love with each other as long as we see the objective. The problem is that we don't know the objective, right? Right, and some of those black folks that were there got lost in the sauce, brother. They were there because it was a great gathering of black folk, man. You know what I mean? It was great. It was all it was some of the greatest entertainers of the time. I mean, you had the #1 soul brother there, man. Right?
Baba
James Brown,
Said and-
say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. You know?
Who was a black Republican, by the way.
So one of the things that we're going to be able to do at our convention, and actually he's agreed to attend the national as well. One of our sponsors is the Zen Education Project, and they put us in contact with Leroy Henderson, Elder Leroy Henderson, who was actually a photographer at the original Gary Convention, and he has shared with us probably upwards of maybe 20 images or so of attendees, and so we got Coretta and Rosa and Mary and some other folks, and so the folks at Zen Ed are going to help us reproduce those for the student convention. We'll have some large images, and then we're going to reproduce one of them for the students to have in their swag bags. But again, those images we'll be able to transfer to the national so that they can be on display. And Elder Henderson, when we met with Sister Beatrice last week or a week and a half ago, whenever that was, we talked about making that connection, and so getting him to be in attendance, hopefully at the national.
Got to get him interviewed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, yeah.
And he's right in Brooklyn. He's right in Brooklyn.
Wow.
He's right in Brooklyn. Yeah.
But Baba Zaid, Sister Josie Gonzalez, she's working with us in her
Public Square.
Yeah, Public Square. They'll be doing reporting on it, and she has some young people, riding, doing that piece.
Yeah. Her principal reporter is just fresh out of school. Yeah, so she's got some young. She's really trying to develop some young folks through that model that she's got. Good. That's good to hear. And this is an important moment, and
we have the students' ear a little bit when you think about what's happening with the confirmation hearings, the discussion around critical race theory. For us in New Jersey, talking about Amistad and what that means, and just the whole teaching of Black history and Black studies in the public schools. It really is a good moment to really pull students' coat and have them think about certain things and really try to grapple with these problems that unfortunately have been persistent. So we really have to, really have to grapple with it and get the student and really challenge the students to do it. So I'm excited about it, man. And it's the perfect timing too, because I mean, it is the 50th anniversary, and there is a national convention in August. Where people are going to be coming from all over the world. So the students can see that and they can feel that they are connected to that. So we're excited about that piece.
But you also know that there's going to be a youth convention part to the 50th part of it, which is going to take place right across the street from NJIT at Rutgers University, right? And I mean, I'm gonna share a bit of news with y'all. I mean, we were told today that the number of students that we said was going to attend was too low, right? And we were told today that facility just may not be large enough, right?
Wow.
Which is incredible because it's like whoa, hold on a second. We because there's a whole nother component to this thing, because it's not just you got to remember that whole concept came up where we were thinking, well, it would be the parents, all of the people were coming, they could bring their children can participate in this whole youth convention. But now, there are other people from all over the country saying, no, we want to send a bus, right? We want to send, 200 kids. Whoa, hold on a second. Wait a minute. We didn't calculate that, but the question is how do you tell them no? Right? So how do you tell them no? Now, people got to go back and start thinking about, well, wait a minute, how do we put this together and how do we look at it differently? See, but you're right, Brother Kelly, when you say that now is the time, right, for what's going on with our people, but also around that whole critical race theory, right? All of that. And you got people who don't want Black history taught, particularly they don't have a problem with it so much being taught to Black kids, but they damn sure have a problem with it being taught to white kids.
That's right.
Because they don't want that part of the truth to ever come out. They don't ever want to find a T.J. Whitaker or a Kelly Harris teaching on white kids. They want to do everything they can to make sure that you guys don't ever tell that part of the truth.
They don't want their kids being educated out of their racism.
No.
It really too is an extension of the work TJ already been doing with the freedom schools, and it's a part of that tradition.
Right on map slow. Right on map slow.
Hey, listen, did y'all check out Ashley Farmer's article last Sunday in the Washington Post?
She's got a book coming out of Queen Mother Moore.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see it though. No.
It's the title. I just dropped the title.
I see it.
Oh, you see it. You got it right.
Yeah.
She's literally dropping on the convention and climate change, and just picking up on what in the program before, Zaid, he was talking about the
Francia,
the opportunity. Yeah, exactly. Do the climate change work. And she's connecting it to the Gary Convention. So again, to students who are doing that research on the environment, we'll be able to bring that in to the caucuses.
Wow. Ed, if you remember when I did the libation, what did I say? I said, if I'm going to call on the Orishas, I'm going to call on that shoe, because that shoe represents the crossroads. This is a crossroads moment for our people. This is a crossroads moment for the history of this racist country, right? And the only direction to go in is forward.
Yep.
Right? In the language of Kwame Ture, only forward ever, backwards never. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, y'all got me amped up.
Brother Kelly and Brother TJ, how many people are y'all expecting on that 29th and 30th?
100.
Yeah, shooting for 100 students. And then and just real quick, man, if we can lift up some of the other teachers who are helping us,
Please,
organize this.
absolutely,
So,
yeah.
Tracy Prince, again, we talked about Teresa Martin, Diane Colson, Florinda Oscar, Steve Rosefort, Willie Sumner, Otto Bakari, right, over in
Yes,
Irvington,
yes.
Sister Shay, over in East Orange as well. So
Rodney.
again, man, Rodney Jackson over in Montclair.
Yeah, he better be.
Man. So
And
again,
now
folks,
Jonathan Austin.
yeah, exactly. And Jonathan is on.
Absolutely.
So definitely want to big up the college. And we got NJEA to commit to sending, some ducats, some funds to support the students, man. And so
NGEA.
yeah, man.
They're white.
They getting up for some ducats, man. Yep.
Yeah.
Right on to some of that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's
Should
good.
be
And
good.
I'll follow up with each of you afterwards too, because there's some places to go. Just building on this conversation beyond what we were originally talking about too. And I love you, teacher, lifting up the other teachers involved in this, because let's bring them into these conversations.
Word.
Because
And you know what?
you got to see
Brother,
these teachable moments.
you know what, Brother Kelly? I'll make sure y'all get a couple of hundred of these sent up to y'all, man. See these band National Black Political Convention.
Oh, that's dope.
Word.
Give it
Yes,
everybody.
please.
Yeah.
So y'all
Let's
can give
eat
one to
them up.
everybody.
Gotta have
That's
it
what we need for the swag bags, man.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
Thanks, brother Ed.
We'll send y'all a couple of hundred, man. All right?
Man, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's
Appreciate
dope.
that.
You made our night with that one.
Oh yeah, man. Y'all should see the mayor be rocking two of them, brother. You got one on each wrist, man. And my wife does too. She rocked two of them, right, on each wrist, man. So they becoming a fashion item now, man. We can't keep them. Yeah.
Hey, this struggle is a marathon, man. It's not a sprint.
Sir.
Oh yeah.
No
doubt.
And you'll appreciate this analogy, man. Bernard Hopkins, he would always say this. His trainer, Bowie Fisher, would always say this when he's boxing. Because Bernard wasn't the one hit a quick.
Notorious, right.
He would break you down.
Mm-hmm.
And his trainer would always say, raindrops. Raindrops. That's all it is, raindrops, right? Just keep hitting them. Just keep breaking them down. Yeah, and that's what we need to keep doing. Just keep hitting them.
Yeah.
Kelly, you sound like you definitely from Philly, boy.
Hey,
boxing down.
I told Brother Kelly, I used to live in Philly when I was training down at Joe Frazier's gym, man.
Yeah.
We used to take our heavyweight down at Joe Frazier's gym when I was in the gym when I was a young boy myself.
And you know, Kelly, that's a tragedy, man, that gym is no longer there, bro.
I know,
man. Historical landmark.
Man.
They got that damn Rocky statue.
I know. They did Joe
you
Frazier.
know, it's a furniture store now, right?
Is that what it is
into
now?
a furniture store, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I tell you, man. I used to
When I
catch
was
the
short,
train
I
in
used to
North
go
Philly
by.
before I moved there.
I live uptown. I used to go by the Lonnie Young gym and check them cats out.
Mm.
Hey, is the first thing they taught you, Ed, or sharpen that up was your left hook?
Oh yeah, that was. I mean, everybody had to learn the Joe Frazier left hook, brother. I mean, everybody. I mean, you had to learn how to throw that thing
That was
right,
my
brother.
shot.
You know what I mean? I mean, the way Joe Frazier bounced up and hit you with that left hook.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I grew up adoring Muhammad Ali, but I wound up fighting like Joe Frazier.
Hey, he beat Ali more times than they give him credit for too. Yeah. I love Ali, but Frazier gave him the work. He gave him the business, man.
So the first fight was nothing like the first fight. I mean, the first fight was his night. Nobody was going to beat Joe Frazier on March 8th in 71. He was just,
but
everything, and he just kept going. Now we're off subject now, but
yeah, we shouldn't have got into boxing. Y'all know what happens.
Hey, bring it home, brothers. Bring it on home. All right,
we go all night on that one. That's a crazy tangent. but yeah, that's powerful. I'm proud of both of you, right? I say that out loud. I celebrate y'all everywhere I go. I wish I could have grown up to be the teachers that you are. The work that you're doing is indispensable to our people in this historical moment. We're going to keep these conversations going. We're going to keep the work going, right?
But both of them are doing what we hope they would do, right?
Absolutely.
And every day, man, y'all make us proud, right? Because we know that when y'all standing in front of them black faces, man, as two strong brothers, right? They see somebody that don't bend. They see somebody that ain't willing to let you ride them, right? and so, man, for us, you know, I know I'm speaking for everybody on this show, man. You know, we proud to know y'all in front of them kids every day.
That's right. That's right.
Much love, brothers. Much love.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Appreciate it.
Feeling is mutual.
Thank you for having us on here too.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man.
And we're gonna bring the sisters back when we come next time, man. Y'all
Gotta
we
deal
bring
with
the
that.
sisters back,
That's right.
all right?
Gotta
All
deal
right.
with that. That's one of the things that's been slowing me down on the oral history project. I'm getting all these men who had Gary. I'm like, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
they wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute.
Well,
Y'all
y'all,
should get Jesse on.
He's been on the show before.
yeah, he's been on before. Yeah,
Y'all
we
should get
got
him on
him
to talk about Gary.
Yeah, I think I will do that. Reach out for him and get him to come back on and talk about Gary. I'm actually cool with his son. You know, with Jesse Jackson
Jonathan?
Jr. No, Jesse Jackson Jr.
Okay, I know
Yeah.
Jonathan. I love Jesse.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be good. You know, to have him get on and talk with him about it. More than likely, he'll probably be here in Newark in August. So, you know,
As y'all go, this is very, very quickly. Now, I always try to keep it practical. Community, all April 29th, April 30th. What can the community do to help y'all move forward with the success of your program?
Support the students. Reach out to us, and because we could always use support, whether it's just emotional support, financial support, just to show the students that everybody, we appreciate what they're doing, and that is more than just academic work.
Indeed.
Will we have room for observers? Can we, if folks want to come through on Saturday?
Yeah, we'll work on that. The only challenge, I was talking to people at Seton Hall about that today, because I want to have observers, but the only challenge that we're going to have to hurdle we're going to have to get over, you know, they just instituted a new policy that I was not aware of.
Okay.
Of people who are around children, of course, to have criminal background checks and all that kind of
stuff. Wow.
Okay. I have to see what we got to work out.
Right.
How we can work it.
Okay.
Wow.
Right. Okay. But yes, folks,
that's pretty serious.
I'd be honored to be a UN observer. I mean, as you know, as a UN life observer.
Oh, we'd be honored to have you, Bobby.
Yeah, Barbara.
In the spirit of Malcolm. Cool. All right, so yeah, awesome segment as we knew it would be.
Oh, last thing.
Go ahead. Yes.
You should come and do some of your poetry for the students.
Yes.
But that's an invite, brother.
Saturday at 1:00.
All right, let me write it down.
There you go. Saturday at 1.
No black ass to forget.
You can kick it off, man. I'll remind you.
Well, listen, Brother Kelly and Brother TJ, y'all know y'all got this show, man. So, you know, anybody y'all want to bring through up until, you know, that 29th, man, y'all got time here,
Here's
man.
the mic.
So just
Here's
let
the
us
drum.
know, come on through, man. And anybody y'all want to bring through, we'll help promote it and do everything we can, man, to make sure that y'all get the support y'all need.
Thanks again, brothers.
All right, man.
All right.
Peace.
All power.
All right, man.
Now, we're going to keep it popping. They got Shep. I know where's the queen at. I know she chimed in on the chat. Where's she at? There she go. There she go. Where's Yanni?
I guess she'll be coming in.
On?
Yeah, she's actually down in
there she go. There she go. Well, we're gonna have a hot. Come on, Queen. There she go. Right? Oh, shit.
Everyone.
And we got a hot show tonight, baby.
Oh yeah, man, I see it.
Yeah, brother, but Zaid, I can't see you. I don't know if it's something wrong with mine or not.
Don't worry about it. You ain't missing nothing. You can't see my ugly ass. That's all.
I want to see.
We always want to see your smile. We always want to enjoy your smile.
I'm glad to be here.
I appreciate it.
And I was enjoying that conversation. I was enjoying that conversation.
Organizing. If you ain't involved in the organizer right now, something wrong with you. For real, right?
Right.
Oh my God. And this segment, just to set this segment up, Kamau Sadiki was one of our, unfortunately, one of our lesser known political prisoners. We got to fix that. right? Brother been in 20 years, upstanding soldier of the Black Panther Party, Black Liberation Army, right? It's been made a footnote of Asada's history, but he's an enormous human being on his own terms. And like so many of our elder political prisoners, he's also, in the throes of a constant battle for his medical survival, right? And Brother Shep and the company have pulled together a fresh new campaign to free Kamau Sadiki. Kamau was swept up around the same time Imam Jamil was put before the same judge. Stephanie Manis, remember that name, right? And framed for something that took place in 1970 because he would not cooperate with the state in trying to entrap and have Asada captured and brought back here, right? So, and tomorrow is a special event in honor of Women's History Month that the campaign is doing. So Brother Shep, party veteran, the Queen, my comrade, we these cubs that have been cultivated in this political prisoner work, right? Who was our former chair at the Malcolm X Commemoration Committee and played a huge role in bringing once Sekou Odinga, her husband, home, right? And Yanni Indigo from my little sister down in Philly, who've been turning it up, and has played a very important role in the movement of the Black radical tradition, young people manifesting itself in Philly in this moment, and becoming an important voice in the work around Mumia Abu Jamal. It's this segment. They're going to set up what's going to happen this weekend and why it's so important to lift up this particular freedom fighter in the context of us lifting up our political prisoners. So this is a loaded segment, and we got some good warriors to bring this up. So I'm glad to have all of y'all around. Shep, I'm gonna start with you because you really took this. You really seized the moment to really start this campaign. Talk about your comrade. Talk about your comrade Kamau and why it was important for us to set up this new fresh campaign for him and let the sisters come in and do what they're gonna do.
Okay. Thanks for having us here. And basically, this came out not from me, but from basically the core group coming out of the campaign to free Russell Maroon Schultz.
Right.
We were successful in getting Maroon home to spend those last days with his family and loved ones and comrades. And we wanted to continue that motion, that energy from there. Those of us that have read The Art of War, we know about motion and how you can, when you're moving in that certain direction, that you continue to do that. So we kept the core together, and we were looked around, as you said earlier, Zaid, looking at those who are not that well known, like Kamau. We looked at Brother Veronza Bowers, folks like Ed Poindexter, and just down the line, there's a lot of our warriors that people don't know their names. So we came up with Kamau primarily with the medical conditions that you mentioned,
yes.
Being so critical at this point. Yes. We felt that we had a good chance to get him out soon. What I'd like to do, if I may, is just do a quick chronology on Kamau.
Go ahead.
And my sister comrades there, they can give you all the details on this great program that's coming up tomorrow, and the work that they've been doing with Kamau with the new campaign we have just recently launched on actually his birthday.
Yes,
we launched it.
It was beautiful.
On February 19th.
It was absolutely beautiful.
So basically, Kamau was born on that February 19th in 1953. He's raised in New York City. I'm going to do this basically in a chronology format. And in 1968, he joined the New York chapter of the Black Panther Party when it was founded at the age of 17, the Jamaica Queens branch. And a lot of people don't know the average age of Panthers was 17. So he fit right into that mold. Although we did have some members such as Mamiya and Jamal Joseph and Ashanti. They were 14 and 15.
Yeah, they were younger. That's right.
Yeah. But and two-thirds of that membership were women.
Yes.
You know, that's who ran the party. So don't get it twisted.
That's right.
All right. So then critically, in 1971, COINTELPRO really was launching itself. There was a ideological split in the Panther Party, and Kamau was one of those that was forced to go underground with the BLA, Black Liberation Army. He was captured in 1974. He did 5 years as a political prisoner of war. He was released in 1979. And he spent the next 23 years with his family, raising his daughters, working for the phone company, you know, living the a quote unquote normal life in the community. And that's what he did for 23 years. Then came 2001, 9/11. Those attacks came. This government responded with their Patriot Act, creating the Homeland Security. And it picked that time with this U.S. war on terror to start digging up all these cold cases. So they went all the way back to 71 to try to clean up some cases there where during that war between the Black community and law enforcement, police and Panthers were killed, you know.
Right.
But no police officers ever been locked up for killing us. But they had to try to find someone that take the weight, and they used that war on terror as their excuse to do that.
Yes.
So in 2002, he was arrested on some fake charges of child abuse, and while he was incarcerated, they offered a deal to him, so he could leave if he could help trap Assata Shakur. For those who don't know, Sister Assata is the mom of one of his daughters, Kakuya. And so, of course, you know, Kamau refused to fall into that nonsense. And they told him he would die in prison if he didn't do it. So he's been in prison ever since then. He was convicted in 2003, sentenced to life plus 10 years. And so 2007, we see this happen again with another group of freedom fighters called the San Francisco 8. Again, they went back to 1971, tried to dig up some cold case and put that on those brothers. So we see the pattern that this government did and what they've done to Kamau. You mentioned, Zaid, about the medical neglect.
Right.
Kamau has hepatitis C, cirrhosis of the liver, sarcoidosis. He has this serious wound infection in his leg.
Yes.
They threatened to cut his leg off a number of times, which you stopped him from doing it.
Yes.
He's currently self-medicating himself because there's hardly any staff, and the staff that is there is incompetent. He's been a victim of medical neglect, like most of our elder political prisoners. And he's in a death house known as the Augusta State Medical Hospital Prison. It's infamous for killing the brothers and his, you know, inmates there. Malpractice. The worst doctors in the world are there. There's been several lawsuits going on, and this is where Kamau is now. So I'm gonna open it up for my sister to talk about the current campaign that we're doing. We meet weekly. We have committees that deal with certain areas of work. And we have contact information, which I guess we can throw that on the screen before we end.
Right.
But that just gives you a little bit about Kamau. And we want to really ask people to look at that program that you talked about on his birthday. It humanizes him. You know, we look at our freedom fighters and it's a name. And we sometimes, you know, look at that, idolize them, or not really see that these are people with families, with feelings, with, you know, souls, spirit. And we have to begin to look at that and bring our people home.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So y'all jump in. Y'all jump in. Neither one of y'all is shy. Y'all know what to do.
Well, first I'd like to say, thank you for having us. I love the name of the show. All politics are local. Our ancestral, one of our ancestral political prisoners, I believe who passed a number of years ago, well, was murdered by medical neglect. He used to always say that as a reminder, is that all politics are local. So it's
Right.
really nice to see that the name of this show is carrying it on. And I think that that's an important thing for us to remember. I was just having a conversation with a sister on our way in. When the state came after Kamau to try to get them to help them capture Asada, it's because they have long memories. They know about the Black freedom struggle, the Black Panther Party, Black Liberation Army, you name it, whatever organizations have come, the Deacons of Self-Defense, all of those organizations, SNCC, they don't forget those organizations nor those people that fought for liberation. And part of the problem is, while they make icons and heroes and sheroes out of people who participated in the civil rights movement, the so-called civil rights movement, they demonize and criminalize those who participated in the more radical revolutionary Black liberation movement. There goes why we have political prisoners who were members of the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army still held in prison. So what Shep said is really important, is that they're in prison because this country remembers them. Our task is to remember them and to never forget. So getting involved with this campaign around Kamau, it's, as Shep said, everybody's situation is dire. There's nobody's situation who is not dire. But we can tackle, one issue. We can focus here and move towards there, right? So we don't leave anyone out, but we're saying, like, it is always a matter of life and death. Ralph Pointer always called the prison death camps. That's what they are. So our job is to educate, right? To agitate, to organize. So when we do these events, like we're doing in honor of Women's Her Story Month, I say Her Story Month, that also came out of a struggle. People don't give, this system doesn't give people anything. People fight for it, people demand it, and the people make it happen. So if we want Kamau to come home, and there are those of us who do, then we have to make that a reality, and we have to make that happen. One, by calling his name, speaking his name, and helping other people to do it. So this event tomorrow is in honor of Women's Her Story Month, and it's we women who love Kamau Sadiki, we women who love freedom and freedom fighting and freedom fighters. So, and it's also to kind of introduce folks to the idea and the importance of writing to political prisoners, right? Sometimes people don't know. We used to have years ago, when Shep ran Asada Shakur Galamos Morales Educational Center, we had every month we had letter writing events and birthday cards we'd make to the political prisoners, because people on their own don't naturally know. They may be a little hesitant. They don't know what to say, what not to say. How do you write to someone you've never met before? What do you say? So some people don't want their address known. So it's a lot of things that can get in the way of people's reaching out to a political prisoner. So this event tomorrow is to help folks to do that, and also to stand on what Shep said. Like, while the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army did some extraordinary things, like we have free breakfast programs today, police terror and murder of unarmed Black folks was stopped during that time, right? We have sickle cell anemia testing. We have a whole bunch of quote social programs that were part of the Black Panther Party survival programs. Those were extraordinary things accomplished by ordinary people. And so what we attempt to do with the work around political prisoners is helping people to see that these are ordinary people who just said, I watch.
Right.
We're going to do something. We're going to carry it. We're going to carry it on. Like this show, All Politics Are Local. carrying that name on. Then there are people who are carrying on the work of the Black freedom struggle and carrying on the work of bringing home our freedom fighters. So tomorrow is a day about that. It's about honoring the women, you know, the women in Kamau's life, and really educating people about Kamau and helping them to see, as I said, why it's so important to write to our political prisoners, not just Kamau, but to all of them. And people can go to the JerichoMovement.com website to find out about the, you know, the facility addresses for all the others, because it is very criminal that and I just found out today that his medical situation has worsened, that the wound that he's had on his leg for the past 3 years, 2-3 years, is now become so raw and infected, and he's not providing medicine. He's just trying to wrap it and clean it as best he could, but it's eating his flesh. The wound is open to the bone, right? That is a serious problem, crisis, urgency. You know, we pray that infection doesn't spread so that it takes him out, but it is past it urgent that we get him out of there and some real medical attention, which is a problem in those death camps. So I'm not sure if I answered all about the event, but that's why I got my sister here, Yane, to comment.
Yeah,
So
coming in the blanks, that kind of messed me up.
All right, sure. So I really appreciate also just being invited to be here. And, you know, it's funny because, you know, y'all talk about me like, you know, I'm the young people, and I'm only young compared to y'all. You know, I'm turning 50 next month, April 23rd. So really excited and looking forward to that big landmark. And, you know, and even at this age and stage, you know, one of the things that, you know, I've been like really looking at and paying attention to is really how late, I think for me, I entered this liberation movement. And I think I entered it very young in my heart and in my spirit. But, you know, I personally did not know where my community was until, you know, much, much later. And was striving alone to make the difference that, you know, all of us freedom fighters are seeking and struggling towards. And so for me, one of the things that I think is really important is making the movement accessible and helping people to get connected to the movement and to know and understand what people are doing, who people are. That remembering is really important, and then being able to activate around those things that we are taught and then are able to remember. It's one of the things that I really appreciate about Baba Zaid, because you come with so much information. You just like rattle things down every time I hear you speak. I'm like mad that I'm just out there with, you know, not without a notepad to take notes. And so, you know, we need to be able to gather our community together to be able to do the work. You know, the first time actually that I saw Baba Sekou was at an event where he was a keynote speaker up in New York at the Left Forum. And I remember feeling both very excited and inspired, and having some feelings of shame because I had not been involved in the fight to bring him home, and I did not know anything about that. And you know, I worked to also to bring Mumia home, and I had been, you know, I knew of Mumia only, you know, really, and you know, and I made a commitment to in that moment to join the fight to bring home all of our political prisoners, all our U.S. held political prisoners, and I say U.S. held political prisoners not because I don't also support the fight of political prisoners, in particularly of African political prisoners, but political prisoners around the world, but because it's important for us to make sure that people do understand that there are U.S. held political prisoners, because people don't know that, you know, but I made that commitment in that moment, but I also have a commitment to making sure that other people who want to do that work and would be inspired to do that work and who have the spirit to do that work know how to get involved, know things that they can do. And that's a big part of what this workshop is about. It's one way to introduce people to the community and the work that this community is doing. And an easy way is to just start by building connections and sharing love. And so, you know, for people who are not already involved in the movement, they don't really know what to do, and it can create a lot of anxiety. You'd be afraid that you'll do something wrong. You'll be afraid, you know, even with something like writing a letter, you'll be afraid that you'll write the wrong thing, that you might say something that could get someone in trouble, or, you know, that you may offend somebody. And so having a workshop like this is a way to actually help people who want to figure out how to make a difference and how to get connected to be able to do that, and to do it with confidence and do it with some guidance and do it with community and to be connected with community. And people even who are doing community work, people who may even be doing revolutionary work, still may not really know how to do that. And also we always need to know each other. And you know, there's a big system that's going against us. It's a big system that is at war against us. And we need community. We need to be connected. And so this is a way that people can end up meeting other members of the community or people who are interested in this work and get connected with each other and learn how to connect through Baba Kamau to political prisoners, so they can support Baba Kamau and also begin to have the ability to also support other political prisoners as well. And so we're going to help people to actually learn more about Baba Kamau. We're going to give them an opportunity to actually do some writing to him during the time that we're in the workshop, so we can like get right to business. So we'll give people some background, and we'll also give people some inspiration, but we'll also connect people with each other. People will be able to meet each other in this workshop, and then also be able to get started with actually writing, so that they can get word to him, so that he knows he's not alone, but he needs to know just all the love he has. And we know, like, there are certain political prisoners like Mumia, who I do love, who gets a lot more attention. And the amount of attention that he gets is the amount of attention that he deserves, and it's the amount of attention that all of our U.S. political prisoners deserve. And so one thing that we know is that when Mumia hears from the people, and when the people move on behalf of Mumia, that actually is good for his health. That actually helps to improve his energy and to give him hope. And we want all of our political prisoners to have that same energy of hope, to know that they are cared for, to know that they are being fought for, to know that they are remembered, and that they did not put their life on the line for us only to be forgotten. And so, you know, we have an obligation. And one thing that became very clear for me, very instantly clear for me, was that you are not a freedom fighter if you are not fighting for those who have been captured and who were fighting for us before, right? That there's no way that you can call yourself a freedom fighter if you are not actually advocating for and fighting for those who went before us and who were captured by the system. And so this is an opportunity for people to actually step fully into the fight to liberate all of our people by remembering the fight to liberate our U.S. political prisoners. I'm very excited to meet some new people, very excited to introduce people to each other and to introduce them to Baba Kamau, and to really help to reinforce the importance of joining this fight. And, you know, so they'll be able to not only write their letters, but also to learn more about the campaign and be invited to join the work that we're doing to bring Baba Kamau home ASAP, so that he can spend the rest of his years with his community, with his family that loves him, the community that he fought for, the community that he sacrificed for and continues to sacrifice for, the community that he loves, and be where he belongs with the people.
I really appreciate what Yane said about when she came into the work, right? Like hearing Sekou speak at the Left Forum excuse me, a number of years ago. None of us, we are all steeped in the miseducation of this U.S. colonial project, right? So none of us really know that political prisoners exist. There is a time when, I should say, at some point in our lives, we don't know. So we can't beat ourselves up for what we don't know, what we didn't know then. It's like, what do we do when we find out? This country does a lot of work to create the mythology of U.S. history, the mythology of democracy and freedom. And the existence of U.S. held political prisoners is a challenge to that narrative. It demonstrates that narrative is a false, is a mythological narrative. So the existence is, when people, if they, it's like Andrew Young got booted out of his ambassadorship because he said that there were so many political prisoners in the country. They're like, yo, you got to take that back. This is the land of freedom and democracy. We have no such existence of political prisoners. And as far as they're concerned, they don't, because they criminalize Black resistance. They criminalize Black resistance from the days of Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner, right? And so, as Dr. Clark said, John Henry Clark said, those people that are held behind the walls, the Baranza Bowers, the Sundiata Acoli, the Imam Jamil Alameen, the Ed Poindexter, the Matulu Shakur, the Jojo Bowen, the Kenny Zulu Whitmore, right? Those are our Nat Turners. Asada Shakur is our Harriet Tubman. They are our Denmark Vesey and our Gabriel Prosser. And we have, as the sister said, we have an obligation and responsibility to not just lift up their names, but to carry on the struggle. And when we carry on the Black freedom struggle, we're not just carrying it on for those of us on the outside of those prison walls, right? We carrying it on for those of us on the inside of those prisoners.
A matter of principle. That's a matter of principle. And as we wind this segment down, I just want y'all to do two things. One, lay out where, and I have it in the chat, and DeQuee, I got this on our Malcolm X Commemoration Committee page, fresh and ready.
Holding it down, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and but lay out our young folks, lay out the social media links, lay out the time, place, and I originally was trying to get Kamau's daughter Kasise on. Of course, we should lift up Kasise, and Kasise is also trying to manage the health challenges of her family, of her brother and her mother, Pam Hanna, who's a important warrior in that tradition. So just on those two things, and we'll wrap up.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm gonna let Yane do the tech stuff because she's the tech wizard.
Well, people can easily register for the event by going to, there are a couple of ways, but you can go tinyurl.com/womengather4 Kamau. You can also go to the actual freekamau.com website, and you'll find information there about the event as well. And we have a link tree, which is linktr.ee /free Kamau Sadiki, and that gives you access to the links. People can also donate. We actually definitely need to raise resources in order to continue this fight and to elevate this fight. So people can donate, and there are ways, and the information for how to donate is also on the website, freekamau.com. And so those are some quick ways, and you can get access to all of our social media through the link tree and through the website as well.
Wow, right on.
And
join us tomorrow. It's going to be from 3 to 5 p.m. So join us tomorrow, 3 o'clock Saturday, March the 26th. We will going to be gathering. This is open to the whole community. So it's women, because of Women's Month. We women in the campaign to free Kamau Sadiki are actually hosting this event. However, this event is not only for women. This event is for all people who love freedom. This event is for all people who love our U.S. political prisoners. It's for all people who love our African people and who understand that there is a war being waged against African people in the U.S. and abroad, and that we have to engage as if we are at war, because we are. So anyone who is understanding those things, those people who love freedom and love our people, you are all welcome to come and join us tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Eastern, 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, and DeQuee, how was Pam and Kasisa? But how are they managing?
Well, it's like, it's a struggle. Just imagine, like, in our own families, when we have a loved one in prison that's battling for their life, and a loved one on the outside that's in like serious health issues, and then, like you said, her brother as well. So it is a struggle. Like, Black folks in this America struggle every day, not just to survive, but to thrive. And so, we are, as a community, we uplift and we support. And so we're doing our best to help to support Kasise and Pam here on the outside, and Jay. And so Pam is getting better, but it's been a long haul. I mean, even not just physically, just spiritually and psychologically, when your loved one being married to someone, Yalua Ferguson, who people I hope know, Mama Yalua Ferguson, a giant of a warrior woman herself, married to Baba Herman Ferguson. She used to say that was why she created the dinner. The Malcolm X Commemoration Committee dinner.
That's right. We did for 25 straight years to Coba's Ugly Behind.
That's right. But she said it's terrifying. You live with terror when you have a loved one behind the wall, and then when you have a loved one who is a freedom fighter.
Tell it.
That's why she created the dinner, to support families and to let the community know, and to pay thanks to the families for their commitment and sacrifice to the Black freedom struggle, and to while we was raising funds, because then that also says something, to the state about we don't forget, right? So it's so many different ways that we carry on this Black freedom struggle, and we honor our political prisoners, and we do not want any more. We've had enough murders by medical neglect behind the wall. There's so many names, so many names. Kamau is the first political. He's the one that I knew on the streets. Like, I met Kamau on the streets. Noah, I never met on the street. Majid, I never met on the street.
Right.
Kamau, but so everybody else, it was behind the wall. But Kamau, I know from the I met him when he was on the outside, like Shep said, doing everything that we do today. Get up, go to work, take care of your family. He was about to retire from Verizon. So it ain't like they didn't know where he was. He put in decades at Verizon. They called him in the community the telephone man. He was the telephone man. But, he was, so he talking to the people in the community, talking to the kids, and representing, and just being that community-minded person. So the telephone man needs us to call up the state authorities to demand that not only is he released, like we fight for that, but that he needs some medical
attention. That's right.
Can I just say, just to make sure that it's clear for people and easy, as far as getting connected, the website is freekamau.com, and that's KAMAU. All of the others, the Linktree, the Instagram, the Facebook, are all Free Kamau Sadiki. And so it's Linktree/Free Kamau Sadiki, Instagram.com/Free Kamau Sadiki, Facebook.com/Free Kamau Sadiki. Kamau Sadiki is spelled KAMAU SADIKI. So just want to make sure that it's clear so people can find us, and also to remind people, particularly and especially if you're not involved in the work in any other way, to support the people who are doing the work so that we can get the work done by donating to the campaigns that matter to you. You can donate to Free Kamau Sadiki's campaign at the website freekamau.com. There's information there for how to donate via PayPal, how to donate via Cash App, how to donate via Venmo, because we do need resources. We need resources for legal. We need resources so that family members can go and travel and see Kamau, because they don't all
He
live
is in
where Kamau
Georgia.
is. He is in Georgia.
That's
He is
up
from
front.
New York. So
All
we
the way to Georgia.
need people need to be able to travel to see him. We need resources to organize. We need resources for paraphernalia. So we need that kind of help as well. That is a way to contribute. Is one of the ways that you can contribute and be a part of the movement is with your money. So please do, if you have the capacity, support the campaigns that way as well.
Indeed.
Did I not tell you she could give you the tech stuff?
Run
it down.
We already knew, because she's been riding with us from me, real strong last few years too. Ride through this COVID mess too. That was really a trip.
Yeah, I'd like to throw one more in there. You can write to us, to the campaign, at Kamau Sadiki campaign at gmail.com. That's Kamau Sadiki campaign at gmail.com, and we will get back to you.
Right on. Okay. All right. Now, and the person that y'all need to thank, he didn't see, and Ed's been quiet, right? Right.
Yeah.
But this drum that we have, this show that we have, is the work of this man right here, Ed Riley, right?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Brother Ed. Yes.
And listen to this, though. He has made All Politics a Local one of the key sponsors of the 50th anniversary convention for the Gary convention, right? So this is a lightweight drum. This brother is in the trenches warrior with his microphone and his drum. So I want y'all, and I'm honored that they had me come on and help them a little bit in the last year. So I want to make that play. And finally, and as we got to jump to the next segment too. I don't want to overtake Rhino's time. Is that this show is in Jersey, so Jersey has, please pay attention, right? Kamau has been made a footnote to Asada. We're trying to fix that. Sundiata Kohli, 49 years in prison, 85 years old. Same kind of footnote. Survived the terror of May 2nd, 1973, right? Footnote to Asada. You're going to lift Asada up? Let's lift up our comrades. And Jersey has to start coming out strong for Sundiata if we're going to get him out. And it's time to make that play. And we'll be doing more on
absolutely. That. And we can't forget, New Jersey is super close to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is right across the bridge, so that's the same. That's just like cousins, first cousins. Right. So yes, Philadelphia too.
I'm on that train all the time down there. That's right.
Right. Yes.
Well, thank you,
York, right on there.
No, now wait. I got to do one last thing. Y'all gonna laugh at this, but y'all need to be the most ready, right? There's a ritual that we have on the show. It's a modest ritual. Y'all know me at rituals, right? Right. And I didn't start this. I'm not, I'm no old head, but I'm new on the show, right? First timers, we always ask them as we go out, who is your favorite hip hop artist, or who are you rocking right now to keep your own personal rhythm going? And each of y'all, hit. I know most of y'all gonna hit who we all ride with, but go ahead. We gotta do that.
I love Dead Prez.
Okay, there you go.
All right, I'm going.
Go ahead.
I'm going to mention right now. There's a young artist that's coming. That's actually coming up right now. That is from Zambia. Who is a young female artist. Her name is Sampa the Great. It's Sampa the Great. She's out of Zambia. She actually last year did a concert all the way from Africa for Black August and supported Baba Maroon. And now she is going to be having her first North American tour. She's actually starting in Philadelphia on Monday, August 28th. She's going to be in Philadelphia. She's going to be DC on the 29th. What'd you say?
What's the date again in August?
No, this Monday. Did I say August?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, March. March 28th. This Monday, March 28th, She's going to be in Philadelphia. Then the next day on the 29th, she'll be in DC. And then she's going to be in New York, on Manhattan on whatever that Thursday is, I think the 30th. And then on May 1st, she's going to be in Brooklyn. And then she's traveling from there. So that's my person right there, Sampa the Great. I hope people check her out. She's a part of the movement community, and she needs to be supported when she comes over here, because she supported us all the way from Africa.
Wow. Shep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the godfather of rap. You know, he called himself a bluesologist, and I have to bring him up because oh no, I'm talking about Gil Scott-Heron.
You're right. I'm sorry. That's right. Gil
Scott-Heron, the godfather of rap.
That's right.
I got to bring him up because we're actually doing an event on April 1st for him on his birthday. We have an amphitheater for him, so I was just doing some work today.
Ain't tell me.
Organizing that, so yeah.
All right, y'all.
Well, we hope to see y'all for Kamau in honor of Women's Her Story Month. I want to thank you, Brother Edward and Brother Zaid, for having us here and bringing us here to talk about Kamau and political prison.
Indeed.
Thank you so much. All power to the people. Free them all.
Right on.
Free the land.
Y'all have a great night.
Yep. You too.
Peace.
Yeah.
Peace.
Ed, I told you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I told you it was gonna be smoking. It was full night.
Yeah,
now we
yeah,
got we let Rhino ride it out for us.
Yeah. I mean, it was something else, man. You know what I mean? I appreciated all that information, but I did not know that his connection to Asada. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of folks still overlook that. He's very overlooked. He's very overlooked. Yeah, when Asada talks about that intimate moment that she had with that brother, and she got pregnant, and they were both on trial together. That was Kamau.
Yeah. And
Kamau has two daughters. We were talking about Kasise, his daughter by Pam Hanna, who they were together for years. They got together afterwards, right? But Kikuyu is Asada's daughter that they co-parented. And she's based in Chicago. I was actually trying to reach her. I think she took a step away from Facebook because she goes through a lot also, being Asada's daughter, right? And she hasn't been able to see her mother in some time because Asada's, for all of the safety that Cuba has provided her, Cuba is in the throes of the 60th anniversary of a blockade, and there was some recent mess when they, used they had folks that they paid folks to use the internet to try and start some mess down there, and they hadn't seen in a long time, so they're very guarded. They take their security very serious, So it's important to lift these warriors up because they've really put it in. And to those folks who are looking and asking that question, so what do I say to a political prisoner when I write to them? Say thank you, baby. Say, you don't know what to say. Say them two words, thank you. The military, American, thank you for your service. Yeah, well, say that to our freedom fighters. Thank you. Right? Rhino has come. Rhino, ride. What you got for us tonight, little brother?
Peace. What's going on, brother?
Peace, Rhino.
How y'all?
All right.
Doing all right?
Yes, sir. Just had some of my comrades on. They just amped me up.
Yeah, I was just amped up, man. I'm just coming off of what we call a raid on Twitch. That's when you kind of link everybody's different DJ sets. You link them up, so when you let's say you watch the first DJ, all you got to do is sit there and watch him, and then all the other DJs that come after him, they just come right after him. You don't have to go to their pages or anything like that.
Wow.
So we just did something like that today for Women's History Month. We were also trying to get people to donate to the Domestic Abuse Sexual Assault Crisis Center. So that's the DASACC.org. I'm trying to get people to donate to that. There are many women and girls, and including men and boys, who go through domestic abuse, sexual assault, and so this is something that we were trying to get people to be aware of and donate to if they could. So that was what we were doing today. So it was about We had my brother Max Jerome, then myself, Coach K, Malik Mania, DJ Abe, Diva 929, and my man R Train is on right now. So that's seven DJs. So that's what was going on today. And I'm just coming off of that. I'm probably go right back to that after we finish because it's popping right now. So that's on Twitch. That's on twitch.tv. If you go to twitch.tv, you can go to twitch.tv /DJ R Train 7. And that's train with an E, not R.
Like Coltrane.
Like Coltrane, exactly. Yeah, so DJ R Train 7, he's on there right now, and he's going in, man. He's doing it. But yeah, that's what I'm coming off of right now. So I wasn't even really able to prepare because I've been doing that all day, dealing with that all day. But what I did want to do is just, since it is the last Friday of Women's History Month, I just kind of want to just, shed some light on
the female MCs. Know where you're going.
The women of hip hop, man. And there's so many of them. I just did last weekend, last Saturday, and then the Saturday before that, I did a set on Twitch, which was women in hip hop, and I'm going to do the third and last part tomorrow for women in hip hop. But it's so crazy because originally I was only going to do it that one day and realized it was so many that I had to extend it to a second and third time. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's so much. And then the reason why I have the shirt on right here, we're talking about women in hip hop, not just the MCs, but also the women that helped the culture and helped the business really of hip hop. You know what I mean?
You get ready to lift up Sylvia?
Yeah, we want to big up Sylvia Robinson, late great.
Loves her. And I'm talking about pre-hip hop.
She comes from back in the days when she was doing the moments, and she was producing, putting out the moments and stuff like that.
Oh, she was.
And wasn't Sugar Hill Gang the first? Yeah. That was the first artist she signed, right, on the hip hop side.
That was the first group coming off of. That was the first group coming off of Sugar Hill. Speaking of that. Yeah. The first rap record, this isn't Sugar Hill, but I had to say this because today is the anniversary of the release of King Tim III by Fatback Band. That was the first rap record that we put out. Yeah, that was the Fatback Band, King Tim III. So today, happy anniversary to them, to that single. But then after that came Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight on Sugar Hill Records, which was Sylvia Robinson's record label.
And wasn't that around 1970? Wasn't that like 78, 79? Yep. 79, yeah.
79. This was 79 when this came out. And so was the Fatback Band. It just came out earlier in the year.
I remember that.
Yep, that was definitely 1979.
That's bringing back earlier pre-hip hop moments because I love the hell out of Sylvia Robinson moments, the whatnots, her stuff, right? Mm-hmm. She's best known for her release Pillow Talk, right? But she did this cut that I love called Sweet Thing. That was
yeah.
that just drove brothers, from age 90 to 9 crazy. I'm making it plain, and even going back further, Mickey and Sylvia, she came through the 60s,
right?
As part of a duet. Mickey, oh God, I'm trying to remember the name of the main cut of that. Love. They were, she really put in some mileage and
she put out a bunch of groups,
so many bridges that brings the music together over a span of a good 30 years. That's really, really important to appreciate. She was really, really special. And I appreciate you lifting her up.
Yeah, man, and to think that her history is that rich and deep, and then to come into being the one to start, I'd say she's the mother of the rap game. She started putting rap records out there like that, and she started the rap game. You know what I mean? She had competition with Bobby Robinson over at Enjoy Records. You know what I mean? During that time, so it was like she was doing it, man, like that. She was really doing it, and to be that connected, you know what I'm saying? To come from where she came from and to still want to do something with what was going on with the youth in music at that time, that's special, man. So big ups to Sylvia. And also, we also got to big up Cindy Campbell. Cindy Campbell is Kool Herc's sister. She was the one who supported that whole party that took place on Sedgwick Avenue. You know what I mean? Without that party, none of that would have happened, and that was because of his sister. So we gotta big up Kool Herc's sister. You know what I mean? So big up to Cindy Campbell. And then there's other sisters. There's I'll never forget back in the day when I first saw the article. I believe it was either in Essence or Ebony. When I saw the article of Sylvia Rome, when she first got the CEO position at Elektra Records. And I just remember how it felt to see a sister get that position. Back then, we're talking about, I guess this was like in the late 80s or early 90s, where she got that position. And something went through me when I saw that, So big ups to Sylvia Rome. Big ups to Mona Scott, who was originally down with Violator Entertainment, Violator Music, Violator Records and Entertainment. And then, later down the line, she ends up doing, reality TV and going into, love and hip hop and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot of sisters. Alice Walker, who was one of the fashion designers, the hip hop fashion designers back then. You know what I mean? There's a lot of sisters that was involved in hip hop in different facets.
You laying out names that most of us never even heard of, and I appreciate it.
And I'm throwing them out there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm throwing them out there. Wendy Day. Wendy Day took care of a lot of legal issues with artists and stuff. You know what I mean? You had Kim Rosario and Dream Hampton. These were like journalists, hip hop journalists and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I remember Dream was just coming out of school and working with us on some other things. She was she was with Monifa and Asha Bendele and Rukai. All of them were, they all kind of clustered together coming out of school together. Dream came out of that and started and segued over in the film and done some really important things, right?
Indeed.
Somebody just snuck in on our screen that we ain't seen in a minute, right? Who once upon a time was real important to us. You recognize the Queen Ed?
Oh yeah,
you look something like
sorry,
I don't know. I ain't seen it.
Little hectic schedule the last couple of weeks, but I'm loving that shirt, Rhino. I just want to start saying a hip hop, a hip to the hip hop. You don't stop for rocking to the bang bang boogie. I just started, that just hit me as soon as I seen that shirt. But
when telling her age right now.
when you were talking about, are you familiar with Heather B? Did you talk about
Heather B? Most definitely. Okay. And that's the crazy thing. Like Heather B, today's generation knows Heather B as being like Sway's co-host on
right
in the morning. But yeah, Heather B was, she's from out here in Jersey.
And Heather B, and she has her own radio show on Sirius XM now. And
my bad. Go ahead.
And yeah, she has her own radio show on Sirius XM in the afternoon on Sirius XM. And so yeah, she still does Sway in the morning, but she still has her own show. And she, and her show, she really has a strong platform. She brings on the principal from West Side. He's on every Wednesday, and they talk about education subjects and different things. She does a spiritual day. I forgot who that was, but all from, and then there's Mike Muse that she brings on, and they talk about political different things. But she has a great show, and it comes on every day from on channel 126 on Sirius XM from 12 to 1 o'clock every day.
Right. Yeah. So Heather B is another legend, queen in the game, man. There's so many that's been doing it. When I was doing
but she did do a throwback for her. What did she start in Real World? She was talking about back in the day where she used to be. She was talking about what she used to do back in the day.
That's the thing. Like she was the first rapper to be in one of those things, and Real World was the first reality show really back then. Real World was the first one, and Heather B was on there. That was when she was expanded from just being a rapper. She was doing other stuff, and
now was that Puffy?
Doing that thing was so crazy because reality TV was so brand new to us. So then to see her in this setting was crazy. I remember that, how it felt.
Was that Puffy's show? Who?
I'm not sure if that was Diddy's. I don't think that was.
Diddy's. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. But when I was doing this this mix, I mean, I don't know if y'all can see this list. Like this is
Yes, that's a long list.
now this is a long list, right? These are names, right? Each side is just names. But then there's also, page 2. You know what I mean? This is page 2, and then you got page 3, and then this is where I stopped. But I got so many more to add. And this is music that I was playing, for the last couple of Saturdays, and I'm going to finish it up tomorrow. But there's just so many
That
women.
needs to be
And
produced
what I
on
was
another
trying to
level.
do. Say that again.
You know what I'm saying to you?
What?
We need to look at producing that on another level.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? We would watch the good, productions on Netflix and whatnot, but you got your hands on a serious production right there that it would be profoundly appreciated by a whole lot of folks in and out of the industry, because it's even though hip hop has grown up, it's no longer a baby. We're a long ways from 1979, right?
Right.
The question of the role of women in the emergence, the development, and the maintenance of hip hop is still an underappreciated one.
Right.
Indeed.
Right. And we need to be honest about why. Just like sexism is one of the paradigms we got to fight against in our battle against white supremacy. We have to deal with how that played out in how hip hop is manifested. Right.
And that's the conversation that I've been trying to bring up, really, with
Go
all
ahead.
of what I'm doing is why? Why are we not hearing all of these women, all of these rappers? And these are not all old back in the day. There's some of these are recent. But how come we're not hearing them? Why do we only hear like 2 or 3 on the radio, and when we got hundreds sitting in the background putting in work, putting their heart and soul in their craft, and we're not hearing none of that stuff.
And it's fun. And it's funny, Rhino, because I can remember when like Empire came out and how they kind of introduced new artists. And there was one young girl that I really liked. She was from Brooklyn. I always used to talk to her, used to talk to you about her when she was on Empire. And she had did, and when I said her name, you knew exactly who she was. But this girl, I think she, I'm gonna look up her name, but she was serious and like wondering why isn't she somebody? Because lyrically, she was,
You talking about Bree?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Lyrically, she was
Yeah,
serious.
she
I'm
was.
like, so why are we like hearing more of her now? But and then you had, and there was another show that just came out with the young lady that played Little Kim and Brandy and all of them, that brought out a whole another group of new artists. And but they're still not pushing them to the forefront. And you gotta keep asking the question why. And I remember at one time Queen Latifah was actually doing like a talent search for the next women, in hip hop. And I don't know how far that went either.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, there's so many. I mean, me and friends of mine, we always talk about this one sister from DC named Sa Rock. Not Sha Rock, not the first one MC, but there's a sister named Sa Rock, and she's incredible. I personally think everybody in the industry is scared to even bring her name up because that's how good she is. And there's so many sisters that's like that, man, that's out there that have so much talent and they're just being slept on, and it seems like they're being slept on purpose.
On purpose, right?
Yeah. So
and remember, speaking of Sha Rock, remember you talked about her last album and how bad that album was. You was like, that album was like, you couldn't stop talking about the album and every record on the album, but
Yeah. So so what I was doing, when I was doing these mixes for the last couple of Saturdays, the first Saturday, what I was doing for the women in hip hop, I was trying to play everybody, like including female MCs from across the seas. I was playing German women. I was playing French women, women from all over the world that were MCs that rap, that rhyme. And it got to a point where I had to put them on hold just so I could focus on the ones that are here in the country that ain't getting heard, because there's still so many here. So the second part two is more of just focusing on the ones that are here. I probably got a couple of sprinkled in there that were from across seas, but I have to focus on so many that we have here right in our own country. So it's just crazy how many are out there. You know what I mean? That are just it's a whole world of them that are out there that are being slept on, and I just felt like this is the perfect time for us to shed light on that, and start that conversation on why.
And where and like, did you? When I think of you say something like that, I think of Moni Love. Like, where did Moni Love fall out? Did she fall out in the U.S.? Did she fall in the Europe? Like
Yeah,
Moni in
she was UK. She was UK.
she was
Yeah,
UK.
right,
Like,
right, right,
Yeah,
right.
she still got an accent. Cute and all.
Mhm. Yeah.
Have you heard of this sister that Yale just raised up? I had not heard of her. Sampa the Great. Are you up on her?
Sampa the Great. Oh yes. Oh
Just out of
yes.
Gambia? Okay.
Man,
All right.
yeah, out of Zambia. Yes, man. Oh man. I went crazy when I first heard her stuff. Man.
Wow.
I went bananas, man. She has a song called what's it called? Final song. I wish I could remember it right now, but the video is bananas. The video, you gotta see the video. You have to see the video.
Okay.
But yeah, Sampa the Great is on point. Final Form, that's the name of it. Final Form.
Final form. Okay.
It's called
Okay.
Final Form.
Wow.
Yeah, and you got to see the video. You have to see it, and it's powerful. It's powerful. I ran it to death when I first saw it and first heard the record. I played it like crazy.
Where were you at when you first? And how did you happen upon it? Where were you at when you first saw it?
I saw it on I don't know if somebody posted it on Facebook and I saw it like that, or I came across it on YouTube. Something. It was something like that, but. Yeah, I went crazy, and this was right before the pandemic, so I actually played it on the show at the studio before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know what else is funny, Rhino? Is how old school still commands. I remember, I don't know what award show happened in the last couple of years, but on one particular award show, Queen Latifah, Brandy, um, you know the song that they all did together.
Yeah, Hold Me Down remix.
Yeah, and they
Yo
all
Yo
came
and
out,
MC Light
and
and
they just, I mean, the whole audience just was like start, like you could see that the audience was starving to just see women MC artists come back out and do something. And from that, and I can remember for days after they that was aired, people were like, but when, every time, Queen Latifah would show up somewhere or Brandy would show up somewhere, they would ask them, okay, when are you gonna do your next, show? Or even when Mary J, when she just did her thing, and when she just did, what was it? And she brought out a couple of artists, Miss Little Kim and all of them. People are just really looking for women MCs to come back out. And it always, when they see the old school, it always begs the question, what's new? Where are the new artists at? And when you guys gonna get back together and, do like a reunion tour or something like that?
Yeah, and people always want to see them because we don't see them anymore.
Right.
That's why we're so thirsty for them, because it's like, damn, where they been? Where are they? Yeah, but we love them. I mean,
yeah,
that's black girl magical moments right there. When you're talking about Brandy and Latifah and Light. And
Say that, son. Say that. Yeah.
Man, that's black girl magical moments right there. For real.
Anybody say I love the hell out of the Equalizer.
And even Foxy Brown. Foxy Brown used to be my girl. Foxy was
tough when she first came out. Foxy was tough.
Yeah. I think she lost her voice or something. She had voice box problems.
Supposedly she had went through losing her hearing.
It was her hearing. Okay.
I haven't heard that.
Hey, Rhino, before we run out of time, can we talk a little bit about Kanye West?
What about Kanye West?
So we now know that he's taken to having people, some of his people following. What's the comedian name that he's going off? Hughley. Yeah. So, it's people actually walking up, intimidating, D.L. Hughley while he's out with his family, making, all kind of crazy threats and so forth. And some folks are actually trying to give him real good advice that this dude just isn't following at this particular point. And one of the things I heard D.L. Hughley say is that, he said that, I'm not one of them new cats. I'm one of them old cats, you know, and I'm telling you, you can't walk up on me like that, and don't think something bad is not going to happen, right? And he's not talking about something bad happening to him. He's about something bad happening to them young cats who are walking up on him like that, you know. And the thing is, man, is that this whole music industry thing, man, is like, especially when you're talking about cats getting personal. I mean, these cats, I mean, do they remember that there was an East Coast, West Coast beef at one point? And you got to remember, Dill Hughley is actually from California, right? So, he's not some transplant cat from Chicago. This dude's actually from that area. So he knows something about getting at cats.
Yo, well, I mean, my thing is this. Well, this ain't even got nothing to do with music industry stuff. This is Kanye and DL. And what Kanye needs to realize is that we're at a time where words are dangerous, man. Your words can be taken to a level that can be fatal for somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so you got to watch what you say and how you say it. You just got to watch what you say and how you say it and who you're saying it to. You know what I mean? And that's all I can really say about that, man. I mean, we already know Kanye's got some situations with him. He's got some issues, and they've gotten to a level where they're going to get him in trouble. They're already getting him in trouble financially. Like people are, it's like sanctions against Kanye right now. You know what I'm saying? Like they stopping money right now.
Yeah, and I think also
how he's moving. So it's like, he's just got to check how he moves and how he speaks, man. Because
it's dangerous.
It's not a
and
game.
I think also it always happens when something happens to him personally, like when his mom passed away. Now he's going through his divorce, and Pete Davidson is kind of playing him out there, and I don't know why he's maybe not giving it back to Pete and giving it a different way. You know what I'm saying? Because I know Pete is on a slide is trying to play Kanye in some ways that that shouldn't be. It should just be left alone. So maybe I think Kanye just probably going through another emotional thing with his wife. Yep. And as I understand, as it reads, they're trying to keep it as civil as possible and not play it in the media, but it keeps showing up in the media for reasons that Kanye is causing.
I personally think that as soon as he got that billion mark, soon as he reached that billionaire mark, I think that's where he should have kind of like just fell back, played it a little quiet, played a little slow, because he was going through things with his wife. Let that ride over. Let all this stuff ride over. You just got this money. Instead, he started turning up. As soon as he got the billions, it's like, all right, I'm ready to turn up. I'm ready to turn up. I'm ready to turn up. And now he's doing foolish things. You know what I'm saying? I think he should have, once he got that money, it's like, all right, boom. We chill for a minute. Let this thing ride out with wifey and plan lay some things out and then come back in. But it's
you in your right mind, Rhino. You in your right mind. I've always said and have always felt, and this is the healer in me now, right? That when he lost his mother, something happened to him. I not a doubt in my mind that he had some kind of breakdown with his mental health, right? And our folks not willing to understand how the importance of addressing those crises when they happen to us, right? He tried to just work through all of that, and as if he was normal, and he started really making some crazy associations and all of that. But all of that is a consequence of him and his mental health. He's losing his wife, right? If you're not gonna own the fact that you have a mental health challenge, you're gonna be difficult to live with, and you wind up losing family
Right.
and all that. You know, all this stuff is really bad. But now, so now he wants to enter the thug arena, and he was anything but a thug.
Right.
He was one of the dope producer behind the scenes. You know, one of the smart brothers. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know we getting ready to wrap up, but did anybody watch that special on Netflix about Kanye?
The documentary, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's touching. I mean, it's touching. You know, like I said before, when I just saw the first part, was it was kind of refreshing to see the old Kanye, because I remember the old Kanye. You know what I mean? And it's not like I was a huge fan of him then, but I dug Kanye. Like, I dug his music. I dug what he was doing. I even dug his point of view, because he was saying a lot of honest things. You know what I'm saying? And so, I felt Kanye. You know what I mean? So when I saw that, man, it just took me back, man. And so it was a touching documentary. But again, just like Zayed said, we see the changes in what happened with him. You know what I mean? And we gotta be realistic with it. And he has to be realistic with it.
Yeah. I think everybody gave him great information. I just, I think that anybody who's ever been through a divorce understand that that's real personal, and especially when you got children involved, right?
Especially, yeah.
I think that is, I mean, that's a very difficult process for him, and all those other things that you all are talking about, right? With his mother and all of that never being the same. I don't think he's ever given himself an opportunity to heal from that.
Right.
And this now being compounded on that. I think that he's having these outbursts. But when you say, Rhino, that has nothing to do with music, well, it doesn't have anything to do with music directly. But when the people that give you awards don't want you at the awards show, right? Don't want you to perform, right? That's hurting you being able to reach your audience, right? Those are the people that got you to this billionaire status. These are the people like DJ Rhino who like Kanye West music, right? So now all of a sudden we can't see our guy go up there and get his award, even if he wins it. Why? Because people don't know what the hell you're gonna say.
Right.
They don't know how you're gonna act. They don't know if you're gonna go up there and say something racist or you're gonna say something revolutionary. We don't know. Or you're gonna go up there and you're gonna say something combative against the white guy. So we don't know, right? So we get ready to close out. I'm gonna give y'all the last word.
Or are you gonna jump on the stage while somebody else is giving their speech?
That he done that. Yeah, y'all remember that? Yeah. Didn't he do that? Wasn't it Beyonce he did that with?
No, he did that to Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Yeah, right.
Speaking for Beyonce. That's what it was.
Yeah, right. Well, Rhino, we'll give you the last word, man, before we close out.
All right. I mean, check me out tomorrow. I'm going to do part 3, the last part of Women in Hip Hop. Twitch.tv/Rhino CMZ. I'm going to be right there at 3 p.m. for the shake up. Again, DJ R Train 7 is on right now. So twitch.tv/DJ R Train 7. He's on right now doing his thing. We're finishing up tonight for Women's History Month. Again, we're trying to get people to donate to the DASACC. That's really the domestic abuse. Yeah, Domestic Abuse Sexual Assault Crisis Center.org.
So we take that real personal. We got our Shiny Baraka Center here in Newark. My child was former director. Shiny, was our baby. That we lost this mess, and I'm trying to figure out more how to bring more men to come out against domestic violence on my walk. So I really, really appreciate what you're lifting up, John. I really appreciate that.
Bless.
Any announcements?
Well, I just say what we need to do is maybe talk about, and maybe we need to do something for men, because there's not enough that they do for men from the domestic abuse side. Everything is more from the focus from the woman's side and not from the men who are doing the domestic abuse. So maybe that's something we can talk about one week.
And we were talking about that on the stream that we were doing. We were also mentioning that even though we're focusing on the women right now, there are definitely men and boys that go through domestic abuse and sexual assault as well. So yeah,
right.
All right, Rhino. You know, of course, Brother Zaid, you don't have any announcements, don't you?
So
Don't you have a
we
march
got
coming up?
tomorrow 3:00. The women gather for Kamau Sadiki. Sunday there's a virtual town hall meeting to get ready for the April 4th Million Voters March. I want to shout out a comrade, Baina Bella. Her birthday is today. One of the most ferocious, one of the most ferocious Haitian comrades that's in the land of the living. Love her dearly. Happy birthday, my queen warrior mother. I love you dearly. Right? That's it.
You got anything, Donna?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, so listen, let's just make sure we thank all of the guests. We want to thank, obviously, the disciples for coming through and doing their show. We missed our brother Hawk tonight, so hope all is well with our brother. And you want to thank the other folks, Zaid?
Oh my goodness, yes. TJ Whitaker, Kelly Harris, two of our young master educators, and I'm calling them young because they're younger than me, right? For what they're doing with their students around Gary as we get ready for the 50th anniversary. My comrades, Shep McDaniels from the Black Panther Party, my comrade DeQuee Sadiki, she and I were both Panther Cubs, that set us off on this political prisoner work. And our young sister Yana Indigo from Philly for all they're doing around Kamau Sadiki. It was strong stuff, and I'm proud of each and every one of them.
Yep, and I definitely appreciated that segment, my brother. And of course, we want to thank everybody. Of course, my name is Ed Riley. I'm one of your hosts. My brother to the right is, of course, Zaid. And down the bottom is, of course, our beloved brother and DJ Rhino. And to the left is our queen, Donna. And so we appreciate all of y'all, for tuning in, coming in Friday. And of course, y'all know it's going to be the first Friday is going to be next week. It's going to be the Congressman with our beloved brother, Congressman Payne. So we appreciate y'all coming through. We'll see y'all next Friday. Of course, y'all know this is all Politics are Local, America's number one political hip hop radio talk show. We'll see y'all. Where we see him at, brother Zaid?
We'll see you in the
Where you say we
world.
catch him at? See him in the world.
World.
There you go.
You don't stop.